It is 6 a.m. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Tennessee Titans head coach Brian Callahan spoke to the media yesterday and talked about his misinterpretation of the rule for Alec Aimono's catch that was ruled incomplete and not challenging the play.
I know you guys are all here for the conversation about the play with Alec and challenging the play and what I said after the game. And look, ultimately, my interpretation of the rule was wrong. I'll own it. We should have challenged the play, and that's pretty much all I can say about it is I'll own the mistake. We should have challenged it, and that's where it stands.
Today, defensive coordinator Jernard Wilson, offensive coordinator Nick Holtz, and special teams coordinator Bones Fossa will speak to the media starting around 11 a.m. this morning. You can hear that presser on the Buck Rising Show right here on 104.5 The Zone. Another dramatic finish in primetime as the Minnesota Vikings and quarterback J.J. McCarthy rally back from down 11 points to start the fourth quarter to beat the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football 27-24. A rough start to McCarthy's NFL debut with that featured an interception, returned for a touchdown, quickly turned around in the fourth quarter with two touchdown passes and also added a rushing touchdown to go along with it on 3 consecutive drives. And a trade last night in the NFL as the Jacksonville Jaguars are trading running back Tank Bigsby to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 2026 5th and 6th round draft pick. Bigsby had 5 carries for 12 yards in the Jags' win over the Panthers Sunday. Bigsby is expected to compete as another kick returner in Philadelphia. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Off and running on your Tuesday morning edition of Ramon and Will. It's fueled by Scooter's Coffee, as always. Locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. 615-737-1045. How you jump in? Many of you may have tried to call in yesterday and didn't have the time to get through the line. That's all right. We got 16 more hours left in the week, including 4 of them today. He's the 11-year NFL veteran, and he is the Vol Network analyst, Ramon Foster. We're going to talk a little bit of Tennessee, Georgia today. College game day descending upon Knoxville, Tennessee this weekend. Our first look at Vols versus Dogs throughout the morning. VolQuest's Austin Price stops by at 8:20. Don Davenport, Television's Don Davenport at 9:20. Justin Hawkins makes the show happen. I'm Will Bowling, streaming live on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch on a crisp Tuesday in Middle Tennessee. Good morning, Ramon.
Hey, I rolled in with the windows cracked.
I actually thought about doing the exact same thing.
It was worth it, is what I'm telling you.
I didn't, but I should have.
It was worth it, Will.
I like it.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. By the way, the 2 big stars you see in the crowd in the sky, they're Jupiter and Saturn, just so you people know, too, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I got this app on my phone. I was like, that is a bright star. Nope, it's probably a planet. That's what it was. I went out there and looked at it earlier.
I thought you were just going to tell me there's a ring around Uranus to start the morning or something. The way you were building up to that.
No, I'm not that childish just yet. I've just had my first sip of coffee.
What do you mean you're not that childish just yet? I know you.
Yeah, you
known each other for about 6 years at this point. 5 years at this point. I know exactly who you are.
Yeah. What was you going to say?
I said that sounds dirty.
No, yes.
On this show?
No.
Dirty?
No, could never. Couldn't be me.
Couldn't be me out
Absolutely
here
never.
rolling around in the mud. But that's what I got this app on my phone, man, and it shows me that type of stuff because I don't live in the city, so I can see the stars at night back at the crib. And now it's almost prime. Will, we are so close to prime, okay? Prime fire pit season. And some people may already be in it.
I put pumpkin creamer in my coffee this morning.
I took a picture.
We're all the way back.
Keisha got all the fall stuff down. Love it.
Love
Absolutely love it. Oh, yesterday I'm sitting on my back patio, real quick update. And I figured I had something back there, but I didn't know.
Okay.
I'm sitting back there, and yesterday after practice, I'm relaxing. The game had just come on.
Middle school football practice, for those unfamiliar.
One of many, okay?
One of Ramon's 20,000 jobs.
Game day today, too, by the way. We got to get this one. Got to get this one, man. But I was just sitting there, and I looked over. Saw little Jerry over there, little Tom and Jerry, man. Had to go get some glue traps.
Oh, no. Yes. Outside, at least?
Outside.
Okay, well, that's better than inside.
And I figured it was got left. We got a shade that I let up, and I saw a couple of droppings. I was just like, I know it ain't what I think it is. And it was. It ran right by my foot, and I was just like, yep.
Oh, I don't like
you
that.
and me we got a date tomorrow.
Like a big one or just like a little one?
Medium size. It was
Regular size? Okay.
But I don't even know what he munching on over there. The grill is out there, but there's nothing in the grill area, okay? So I'm just like, all right, bet. Is all I said to him. I got up promptly. I wasn't scared. I was a little scared. I got up.
It's a quick backtrack.
Listen, you want it like might scare me, man, because they don't judge me, people, okay? And I know you are, which is why I said it. But like growing up in the country where I lived at in Henning, Tennessee, home of Alex Haley, soon to have my name on the water tower at some point. I hope.
Oh.
I'm working for it.
Okay.
I'm working on the name on the water tower. Me and my brother Homer, Ramon, and Renardo Foster. But what I'm going to say is this. When they used to harvest crops, and it's this time of the year, the corn and soybean and stuff around the house, we live far out in the country. Well, the combines used to pretty much shake up the ground. And like trailers aren't as secure as houses are. And man, the mice would find its way in, and it used to creep the heck out of me. Never had like a bad problem with it, but it was this time of the year in like October where they were getting all the soybean and corn out the field, and we have like one or two. And we used to have the old school snap your neck traps too. Now we just do the inhumane glue traps. Just I hate this time of the year though. But I got one, and he about to die. Is what I'm going to tell you. For all the people save it, relocate it. Yeah, I'm gonna relocate it.
You're saying Tom and Jerry's canceled in your household.
I'm talking about never welcome, okay? Ever welcome. Maybe was your Tomcat. Tom is welcome. Jerry, never. Absolutely not.
Well, last night, another way you know that fall is back is that the Chicago Bears lost in tremendous fashion on Monday Night Football. Leading 17-6 late in the third quarter and late in the fourth quarter. Minnesota scoring to make it 17-12 with not a lot of time left in this game. That was with 12-13 left. So maybe not late in the fourth quarter, but Caleb Williams of the Bears looked great on script and early in this football game. And then J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings woke up to a 27-24 win on Monday Night Football last night. Brian Flores turned up the heat late on Caleb Williams, who struggled in the second half. J.J. McCarthy, who started off very slowly in this game, is the first player since Cam Newton with 2+ passing touchdowns and 1 or more rushing touchdowns in his NFL debut.
That was insanely good by him. It was shaky to start. It was wild to look at. I'm thinking to myself, the Bears really about to take it. Ben Johnson, coach of the year. I was proclaiming all of these things, man. And they could not finish, man. It was comical, is what it was for Bears fans. They brought the 85 Bears out, man. It was everything that you wanted and needed it to be as far as a home opener, and just fell flat. J.J. McCarthy cooked. I got to give it to him. And what's the coach's name there? Minnesota.
In Minnesota, Kevin O'Connell.
Kevin O'Connell.
He's so good. He's really good at what he does.
That end of, they're going into the 2-minute moment where Ty Chandler, Ty Chandler looked over to him.
Kind of in UNC.
Yeah, UNC. But he's not Belichick Bills, though. Not at all.
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit. But by the way, when he was coming out, he had him look over to the sideline. He's waving him out of the end zone. One of the coolest moments I've seen a coach
use the 2-minute warning on the kickoff.
Yes.
If you didn't watch the game, that way when they get the ball back, they don't have a built-in stoppage. The 2-minute warning has already elapsed in the change of possession or in the change of special teams to offense. It takes away a timeout from Chicago, which cost them 40 seconds. I mean, just that little bit of game management. Here's the thing, Ramon. Here's what I envy in Minnesota and what I hope is coming here in Tennessee. That wasn't pretty for Minnesota, and they still scored 27 points in this game. Now, there's a defense that's complementary to the offense as well, and there are a lot of weapons. There's an offensive line. There's a guy named Justin Jefferson who might be the best receiver in football who's catching passes. So it's unrealistic to expect the Titans to be at this point. And Kevin O'Connell, mind you, has had a lot more experience as a head coach than Brian Callahan. Yeah. This is the goal of what you want to be. An attack-minded, blitz-heavy defense, a Brian Flores defense that's going to share a lot of the same characteristics as a Denard Wilson defense. And on days where things are muddy, are a little bit rough on offense, when you throw a pick six on the road in a divisional game, you still score 27 points and you find a way to win the football game. They're the model, I think, to me, Ramon, of any franchise that hasn't just had the quarterback to carry them to prominence. Like, obviously, you go get your guy. That's obviously the way to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if J.J. McCarthy's the guy. I think the point, though, is that, like, they're the model of how to win and be a successful competitive franchise without a quarterback to carry you there. Mm-hmm. It's honestly really impressive what Kevin O'Connell does there.
It was. The reason I said he got their guy, and I would almost say again, is because Kevin O'Connell.
Oh, right. You know, like, he'll turn a dude into a guy.
And his reputation
on the rankings
is like his reputation is like speedboat.
A player into a guy.
Yes, 100%. Like they're not rolling this thing. And the other part for Kevin O'Connell, for me, is what I always speak of from time to time is this. He's got a template for what he wanted to look like and who he wants manning his ship to. That is the beauty of what they did last night. As you mentioned, the weapons they got. You got to
Danny on YouTube says, how different are the debuts of Ward and McCarthy? Yeah, how different are the supporting casts of Ward and McCarthy?
There is no Justin Jefferson.
Not even close. That offensive line has been playing together. Like, I know they've got some new pieces too, but not even close to the same
defense
elements and situations around these two quarterbacks. And the guy's been in the league for years.
I was just going to say, front to back to front, the defense is cooking. We saw a guy last night, Javon Hargraves, who's a free agent that cooked last night for them. Like, they've got a foundation, is what I would say. They got a stronger foundation. That's the difference.
Much stronger. I mean, and J.J. McCarthy's a second-year player.
Yeah. My son Miles brought that up to me last night, too. He was like, well, he is the second. I was like, yeah, okay, I guess you're right in this situation. First year starter, but he had a redshirt year.
Comment on YouTube says, Jordan Mason looked great. Green Wave. That's right. Gallatin's finest.
Yes.
Jordan Mason rewarded with a 2-year contract and looked really good.
And 8 last night, too. Mm-hmm. Yes. He's
a good football player.
J.J. McCarthy looked calm with the ball in his hand. He found his guys, and he was smart enough to run when he had to also.
Yeah.
It was a masterclass of how you are never out of a game, to me, in a week 1 matchup.
Sure. Yeah, they've got 2 Middle Tennessee running backs on that football team. They've got an NBA running back and a Gallatin running back.
That's crazy.
Pretty dang good.
Gallatin used to put a lot of players, though, too.
Oh, they still do.
They still do?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Live from the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio, Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. 615-737-1045. Notes from Brian Callahan's visit with the media yesterday, his initial thoughts, and then his recap again in a different way of the Elikiah Manor ruling and not knowing the rules. We'll dive into that coming up next. Hey, it's Will Bowling here for my friends at Lee Company. You hear me talk all the time about how Lee Company is all you need for your home, for your facility, and that includes the electrical issues that you got going on. Available 24/7, the Lee Company team handles electrical problems and more in short order. From routine repairs on outlets and switches to fixture upgrades and generator installations, the award-winning electricians will get the job done right the first time. Contact Lee Company for all your home electrical needs at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com to schedule with an experienced electrician. Their number, 615-567-1000. Lee Company is available 24/7. They have over 80 years of experience serving the area, trusted since 1944, and they have 14 community locations in Tennessee, Kentucky, and Alabama. Make sure to get the very best players in your team by contacting Lee Company. Call them at 615-567-1000, online at leecompany.com. Lee Company, all you need. Hey, it's Will Bowling. I want to tell you about my new obsession. If you've been listening to the show over the past couple of weeks as we begin football season, you know that I'm hooked. absolutely hooked on Daisy French onion dip. It's my guilty pleasure. It's the way that I like to consume football season. We just finished the football weekend last night, and I'm all into this stuff. Whether it's eating dips with chips, with wings, with veggies, whatever you like to dip with while watching the big game, you got to try this out. Daisy has come out with a delicious French onion dip and a ranch dip. I'm telling you, these are a game changer. As delicious as a homemade dip, plus they're made with real herbs and spices and other ingredients you'd find in your own kitchen. Make sure you check it out. The best news is it's everywhere. Grocery stores around you. As you're making that run, maybe you put that off from your Monday. You're going to stock up for the week, stock up for the football weekend. If you're getting ahead, you're tailgating. Make sure you try it. Look for Daisy French onion dip at a grocery store near you. Ramona Will at 104.5 The Zone is fueled by Scooter's Coffee. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling. 615-737-1045 is the number. We stream the show live for you at 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Comment to start the show this morning. Let's start here with Titans Talk today, Ramon. AI on Twitter says coaching was a huge problem Sunday, and the system isn't new. What was up with that take yesterday? Did we disagree with that?
No.
No, we did not. Things looked very similar to the way they did when things did not go well last season. That doesn't mean that's who you are for the season. We're going to talk about that in hour 2, actually, today. What is the Titans' offensive identity? Considering what Brian Callahan and his staff would have learned about themselves, about what they can get away with, what they can't get away with, maybe in Denver. How much of that was opponent-specific? We will dive into that. But, yeah, the management of the game for the coaching staff was not where it needed to be to win the football game. And the system overall functioned about the way it did last year because you couldn't block. You didn't have a clean pocket, Ramon. Is there anything else that from this game stands out to you, just hearing Brian Callahan, just marinating on it for a day longer? Do you feel like we didn't contextualize yesterday?
I think a little bit more because Mondays is all bad after a loss, and that's usually the main story on Mondays. And I get it. The emotions of the game, football is super unique in how we consume it, enjoy it, and all things that are involved in it. I do think there needs to be more of a reset to how competitive Cam Ward was, or the want to be competitive. It wasn't out of being a crybaby. It wasn't out of trying to overdo himself. It wasn't out of him being fake about his want to make plays for his team. I thought because of all things that had happened yesterday, the missed call from Coach Callahan and his staff, I'm going to throw that in there too, from him and his staff, got overshadowed. I think his want to be a damn good quarterback for this team is there. The passion I enjoyed seeing that from a young guy that don't know this league at all. And it's a matter of correcting the mistakes, being aggressive enough to trust him, but he's also got to help himself too in moments where this ain't college anymore. He can't outrun guys anymore. I think Caleb Williams found it out last night, too, as he was trying to run down and beat defensive linemen. It's not the same league. The foundation of what you want him to be, Will, it was good to see him kind of take that on is where I'm at.
Yesterday, Brian Callahan immediately addressed the rules part of his Sunday press conference. Again, if you have not been tuned in, if you have been living under a rock over the past 48 hours, Brian Callahan did not challenge a catch made by Alec Iamaner on 1st and 20 where his elbow appeared to hit in bounds, saying after the game that you have to get an elbow and a foot, or you got to get 2 body parts down, incorrectly quoting the rules. And Brian Callahan had 2 kind of different thoughts on this during the press conference yesterday, starting with this.
I know you guys are all here for the conversation about the play with Alec and challenging the play and what I said after the game. And look, ultimately, my interpretation of the rule was wrong. I'll own it. We should have challenged the play, and that's pretty much all I can say about it. Is I'll own the mistake. We should have challenged it, and that's where it stands.
And then Brian Callahan later in the press conference said this.
Yeah, I think at the end of the game, I was worried about a lot of the things that went wrong in the game, and the heat of the moment, the frustration of it after the game in the press conference, I think is, again, I misspoke. I'm well aware of the rule. I understand how it works. And the way that I articulated afterwards was incorrect. And, I understand the rules of this game pretty well.
He contradicts himself a little bit there, Ramon, but ultimately, I'm glad that after today and after this, we can just move on from this and see how this impacts the Titans moving forward. How does this mistake, how does the in-game management mistakes that the coaching staff made propel them to, A, either learn the rules better, or B, have a more clear chain of communication from upstairs to downstairs? Because however you spin it, it is a staff mistake.
Yeah, it is.
Brian Callahan is taking accountability, then he kind of characterizes it a little bit differently in the post-game press conference. Regardless of how you spin it, it is a staff error, not just a Brian Callahan error. What did you make of this yesterday?
There was no win. There was absolutely no win at all when it comes down to him being in a position to give an excuse for it. No matter what he said, he could have gone up there and said, I bleeping messed up. Then everybody else would have said, you dummy. He could have said, hey, we didn't understand. And everybody would have called him a dummy and incompetent also. There's a lot of that would have happened with him yesterday. His best, I guess, response was, I got to own it. And that is it. Right now with this fan base, I'm not sure about the front office. I don't know how they feel. Right now about this fan base feels like he's probably incompetent and weak. And that's not okay. It's fair to the fans that think that, but here's the thing. There are 16 more games that he's got to go out and prove himself that this was just a one-off. There can't be another situation like this, Will, that comes up over the duration of this season. He almost has to be over-aggressive in how he protects wins and losses for this team. And the other part for me in hearing him explain that a little bit was this, too. He trusted his guys upstairs more than himself. And we've all been in a situation where, at least I speak for myself, where I know something is right and I hear somebody else kind of throw it off a little bit. It's like, well, maybe. And as quick as the game goes and as much as you got to process while looking at the play card sheet, while looking on the field in the scenario, getting personnel in and trying to understand what's what, and the fact that he probably didn't see that live. He trusted the guys upstairs more than he did himself. And that's a part as a coach where you got to say to them, this is my show, I'm going to run it. And he missed too much trust is the way I look at that one.
Easton Freeze of A to Z Sports puts this out yesterday on his Twitter, says, the more I think / dig on this, the more ambiguous it gets. Hello, Dak Prescott. The only two things I know for sure about the Titans rules mistake yesterday, Easton Freeze says. One, director of game management and strategic initiatives, Rob Ryderer, I'm probably saying that wrong, I apologize, definitely didn't know the rule upstairs and told Callahan not to challenge. Two, Callahan went with that advice and as the head coach is responsible for the screw up. However you spin it, I kind of wish he hadn't said the second part, Ramon.
Yep.
Because falling on your sword and just taking the personal accountability on the front end was plenty to just put this to bed. It felt like he kind of went on the offensive again a little bit as he was pressed more at it and probably got pretty frustrated. And look, you try to empathize with Brian and put yourself in his shoes. It's kind of humiliating. And I understand it. I totally understand where he's coming from because Brian Callahan is a smart guy. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think you get to be in that position and not have a significant level of intelligence. Now, you have to showcase that when you're between the white lines, and he knows that as well as anyone, that it's one thing to know the rule book on Monday through Saturday, but if you don't know it from Sunday from 2:05 Mountain Time to 5:05 Mountain Time, it doesn't do you much good, does it?
No.
But ultimately, it creates a little bit more of a cloudy picture for fans and for media and for people that are going to listen to him speak just by giving that second statement.
Yep.
So, yeah, I know that fans aren't wanting to give empathy this morning because they're fans and they're mad and they want blood. And I understand why many of you are frustrated, but let's see how they respond to this and how they react to this because you got 16 more games this year and Brian Callahan is not going anywhere. It's just that simple.
With re-asking that question yesterday a few times, knowing how the media work, as a player I knew how this worked, that was the point of it too, was to get that second reaction from him. And that's the part as a coach too that he's got to grow. He's got to let it be known, look.
He's got to play the game a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, didn't I tell you,
sure.
like a snap back would have done it. Like a lot of his fan base would have been upset or the reporters may have been upset about him snapping back at him. It was like, I told you the answer earlier. Refer to my answer earlier is how he could have gone about that. I do think he's very forward in how he wants to speak and how he wants to be perceived.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah, he's a good guy. And that part of it right there is where you got to get that coaching layer of protection on you too. Like I said what I said. I own it. We'll move forward next week. Now, the response to that is only one, and that's winning games.
Yeah, I agree.
That sucks for him. I mean, it doesn't suck for him because that's your job. But the only answer that you're going to get from this that's going to satisfy this fan base and the team is to win football games. The other part of it I guess that I've thought about This front office is perceived to be very smart. The guys that you brought in seem to understand ball. I'm talking about Mike Borgonzi, Chad Brinker, Reggie McKenzie, who's very thorough in this league himself, too. Just naming some guys that are inside that building, right? Frank Bush is highly respected, but specifically Borgonzi and Brinker. I wonder how they feel about that situation, in the sense of I feel like that unit, those two guys are very smart in how they've gone about their careers and the people they've been around.
Sure.
I wonder how does this carry for them the rest of the season, too?
The interesting part of this that I think is relevant is still going back to Jeremy Fowler and Teron Davenport's reporting at the beginning of the season. That this franchise was adamant and emphatic about breaking the cycle it's been in and valuing continuity in the coaching staff above quick reactions and panic. Within that, Ramon, there is nuance for adjustments that can be made behind the scenes that we never see and may hear about after the fact. But within that, there is development. There is the ability of a front office and an organization to put their arm around Brian Callahan, to surround this staff and say, what do you need? They've already given this staff a lot of resources, mind you, in the trip that they took for 10 days in preseason. Those things aren't free.
The team pays for that.
Yeah. It's not cheap to invest that level of resource. So the organization and ownership has already proven, they're like, hey, Brian, what you need, we'll get it for you. We want to invest in you and your staff to turn this thing around, and we have perceivably the patience to see out the process. How can Mike Borgonzi or Chad Brinker, like Chad Brinker being the kind of the liaison between football and business, football and ownership, football and Chad Brinker is kind of the Swiss Army knife that, hey, whatever we need that's sports performance, that's personnel, like Chad Brinker is kind of over everything. Like, how can Chad Brinker help develop Brian Callahan as a football coach, as a head coach? Is it hiring someone to help in game management? Is it changes behind the scenes on, hey, Nick Holtz is going to call certain plays and you're going to call? I don't know. I don't know the answer to the question that I'm asking. The point that I'm making is that I think there are adjustments that can happen for a coaching staff and behind the scenes that we don't see, that fans aren't going to see either, that probably aren't going to satisfy you guys. But let's see what adjustments they make is the point. Like, I feel like from what the show we did yesterday, Ramon, people think that we had this take that the coaching staff was flawless and, you just got beat by a better team and that's okay. And so, like, no. The coaching staff made some major mistakes on Sunday. Our take is that nobody's getting fired for it. And that shouldn't be that crazy of an opinion one game into the 2025 season. Because, again, I feel like teams reinvent themselves the most between week 1 and week 2. So, yes, today, to the comment on YouTube that says, be careful saying Bryant isn't going anywhere. Right now, he's not. It's week 1. That may change. It may not. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm telling you, without a shadow of a doubt, it's week 1, and nothing's changing right now. So let's see how they adjust, and we'll start to break down the Titans and the Rams.
Should we
got to take deep breaths, guys.
Should we do a poll and ask a question? If he goes 10-7, does that forgive this moment? 10-7 potentially puts you first place in the AFC South. You at least are on the image in late November. 10-7 does do that.
Well, let's just keep it open-ended then. What will it take for you to earn trust in Brian Callahan again if you are out today?
That's a good question.
615-737-1045. Call in and let us know. What's it going to take to have trust earned back in the staff if you are out today? If you're on the negative side, if you're on the full, hey, clean house, clean everything, what's it going to take to win you back? We want to hear from those people this morning. That's a great question. 615-737-1045. We'll start with Daniel in Clarksville this morning. What's up, Daniel?
Hey, good morning. How are you guys?
Good morning.
Hey, the reason I initially called in is I kind of got frustrated watching Monday Night Football last night because what I see from them, you see McCarthy go out there. He looks horrible in the first half. He looks like a rookie quarterback who's never played in the league. They come out in the second half. He looks totally different. The plays are different. The play calls are different. And I don't know, why don't we see that from our coaching staff? Why don't we see adjustments like that where we come out and have a chance to win a game? after a first half like that. That's kind of why I called in. But to the question you just asked of what would it take, that's kind of, I mean, wins and losses, I don't know. I don't know if our team, if I see it as good enough to win 10 games, but I think if we're just competitive and stop beating ourselves, even if we're losing close games, as a fan, just speaking for myself, that's all I really want to see. I just want to see less penalties, a disciplined football team, and just kind of the opposite of those things that we've been complaining about since Sunday. But thanks for taking my call, guys. I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you, Daniel.
Appreciate it, Daniel.
The reason why they can make adjustments like that is they have better players. It's
Jimmy's
truly
and
that
Joes
simple.
matter.
They were one of the best teams in the NFL last year. I know they have a young quarterback as well making his first start. A first start when you've redshirted under Kevin O'Connell is not the same thing as making your first start in the NFL in your first couple months in the NFL after playing in college last year. Kevin O'Connell has a lot of experience that Brian Callahan doesn't have. They have better players, and they have a head coach who's done this before.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Absolutely. It's funny. So I'm seeing a couple of narratives, man. I appreciate the interactions we get too, but like, I guess those of us who say it's just week one, I guess it's a thing to push back on that, and I get that also. Baltimore Ravens lost yesterday. Baltimore Ravens aren't out of it. From this past weekend's loss on how they started the season off too. Like, there are 16 winners and 16 losers in this. Now, I agree, this moment that Callahan is having, what you don't want to have is it happen again. Everybody, I would say, is due one. I don't know if he had one of these moments last year. No, he did not have one of these moments last year.
No, definitely not.
Did not. If this was his one and he moves this, and I push a number, 10-7. Heck, it can be 9-8 for all I care. But I'm saying
it could be a lot less than that.
It could be. But my point of it is, if he does win and prove that he can put this roster together in a way that is very competitive to where they can get to double-digit wins, I know that's a big if. But I think that it somewhat clears up the sins of this. You don't forget it because you don't want this moment again. But there will be a lot of people that will be happy to go on Nissan Stadium to watch football if you're 10-7 too. This moment won't be as big as 10 wins, is my point. And it's a hypothetical, and I get that. But it is a situation where you got to be cautious and say, oh, he sucks, this is dumb, and we hate him, we want him fired. That's all I'm saying, because every player that you've loved here is in a position where they've made these type of mistakes. And I know it's heavy as the head that wears the crown of the coach, but everybody got something underneath their belt that they say to themselves, I want that one back.
Sure. 615-737-1045 is our number. Commenter on Twitter says, the man is 3-15 and still has a job. Let that be Gerard Mayo, and his key card would be deactivated. You know who started 2-16 in his first 18 games?
Who's that?
Zach Taylor.
2-16
in his first 18 games.
They want him fired.
They were in the Super Bowl a year later.
Got to see this one out.
So I don't care that it's people saying, and another guy says, you guys are letting him off the hook. This isn't game one. This is game 18. It's game one with a new team.
Yeah.
It's game one with a new quarterback. Was he supposed to fix all of this and be flawless in Denver at altitude with that crowd and a brand new quarterback, a brand new offensive line? 21 players who were on the 53-man roster for Week 18 last year, Ramon, were available for this game.
Yeah.
21 of 53 players were on the 53-man roster for Week 1. Your margin for error was nothing, and you made errors.
Right.
The coaching staff made big mistakes in this game. Okay, it's 1/17 of the season. Yeah. Let's see how they respond. 615-737-1045. Your phone calls on our Brian Callahan topic. If you are out, if you've lost trust, what is it going to take to get it back? We're trying to keep people reasonable. Ramon, I don't know if it's working, but we're trying. We'll go to you next on 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon and Will here for Volunteer Traditions. Y'all know the brand. You see the clothes because why? Everybody's wearing it. Well, I think I have some on every week, and I think you do too, man. But when it comes to Vol apparel, if you're going to check or kneeling this weekend, nobody does it better than Volunteer Traditions, man. They have grown to be one of the best Vol apparels on the market. They have everything that you're looking for. The hats are sweet. The tees are sweet, man. But it's just this, too. If you're trying to decide on which brand to use, you don't have to go with a company that's out of this country or, that's a big business. No, go with the one that's here local, that was built in Knoxville. Will, how much stuff you got?
Oh, all of it. I'm wearing the lightweight white hoodie today, a little bit of off-white with the interlocking UT logo outlined in black. Would be perfect for Checker Neyland. This upcoming weekend, Volunteer Traditions have been making Tennessee apparel since 2006 and now carry everything Vols, from polos to outerwear, tees, and hats, everything you need to cheer on the Vols on game day. You got to get geared up for game day. Visit volunteertraditions.com and grab yours before the next kickoff. Wrap it up hour one on your Tuesday morning, Ramon and Will. We are fueled by Scooter's Coffee. 615-737-1045 is our number. He's Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins is our producer. To the phones we go. Ramon asked the question, if you are out on trust on the coaching staff, what is it going to take to be won back? Bam in Nashville leads us off.
Top of the morning, fellas. Hello, therapy crew.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. It's time to put your license to work, Ramon. Man, you know what, man? After being there Sunday, I felt like we had a chance to really win that game, like in so many different cases, if the coaching staff would have put Cam in good, you know what I'm saying? Because Cam was real poised. He was real smooth. That's true. Like, honestly, I was shocked we didn't have as many delayed game calls as Bo Nix and them had, and they were at home. Mm-hmm. You know, for me to, man, 10-7, yeah, he's going to have to pull. We're going to have to pull the streak that we did when Tannehill came in and we went to the AFC Championship. Yeah. I feel like that's the only way that's going to be it. He's going to have to do something miraculous because it's like, man, bro, there's no continuity to the game. We don't, all the 3-and-outs, all the, you know, there's no offensive flow. And then you watch everybody else, you know, even if they don't score, they at least still getting 2 or 3 first downs on us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's kind of like, what's the difference? Why can't we have any continuity at all? And play calling, man. And then that burns the defense out after a while because it's like, man, we just got off the field 45 seconds ago. So, I don't know, man. But here we go. Another year.
Thank you, Bam. Appreciate the call. Bam. Just feel like it's way too early to be this down.
I say this, I think it's a Cam effect. There's a lot of hope in the idea that he can turn this thing around. He's solely, and anybody that doesn't aid in that department is going to be thrown out with the bathwater. It's the way I look at it. Like, and I get that. I do. This is a numero uno guy, the best player, the best quarterback there was in this past draft. And you see the optimism on having him on your team. Everybody else has gotten the goods for their quarterback as of late, the way it's perceived, or the comparisons of Cam to Jaden Daniels to C.J. Stroud and others recently is what this fan base longed for. And I get that. And they feel like a person who's stopping that is a guy that's calling the plays for that quarterback. That's the issue right there.
Cody is up next. What's up, Cody?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Hey, I just wanted to say I'm not like most of the fan base. I actually full on believe that, like you all been preaching in the offseason, that we are in the true rebuild. So I really do believe that, for me, the trust is just get us a winning record first and foremost. But more than that, you know, just try to compete for the AFC South or compete for a playoff spot. You know, be one of the first teams that are, like, on the out at the end of the season. Because when I look at the mistakes that happened Sunday, I mean, especially the non-challenge on the Elliott catch, I mean, just don't let it happen again like Will Levis's boneheaded mistakes last year. Mm-hmm. That's just, you know, my opinion. I'm not like most of the fan base. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Cody. Appreciate the call.
I guess the point of somebody asked me the question, what would I have done as a player in this type of situation? One, I was just like, I don't know if I've ever been in that type of situation like this before. Okay, it's been times where Coach Tomlin didn't throw the flag and we felt like he should have, or he threw one and didn't. Like, these things happen. The issue that Coach Brian Callahan has is he doesn't have enough cachet in his league to be able to have that type of grace. Or we found ways to win games, or it wasn't that big of an issue. Like, my response to if we had been in a situation is this. As a player that's got to be coached, and that is my boss, essentially, as the head coach, our mindset is this. We might be disgruntled. We may be upset. We might dislike the coach that week and in that moment. But by the time Thursday's hit and we're planning for a new team, it's always been the mindset of, well, we got next week. We'll correct whatever happened the next week. And that's been my mindset. As a fan, I get where y'all are at in this moment right now. But as a player inside of that building, I'd almost guess it will be the mindset of, well, we got this game this next week.
Sure.
It's always the next one.
Well, and to your point, sometimes from the outside, it feels like the only change you can make is changing the person in charge. As you know from being in the league for 11 years and playing for the University of Tennessee, there are adjustments that a coaching staff can make to the procedure of practice, of game planning, of play calling, of communication. Like, there's always adjustments that people can make on the job to change things that haven't worked. A lot more than just clean house, fire everybody, incompetent. Like, were there mistakes that were made Sunday? Yes. Is the only fix just letting the guy go? Absolutely not. That's where I'm at today, and I think that's where you're at too.
Yeah. I said this in our chat, but this situation is worse than Tannehill's. Hate. Currently.
It feels similar to the way things quickly got toxic and personal towards Ryan Tannehill. Yeah, it does. It really does. 615-737-1045. Troy is in Lebanon up next. What's up, Troy?
What's up, guys?
Morning.
So my biggest issue is Callahan gets a lot of the hate on him, but there's not a lot of talk about the captain of this team, Jeffrey Simmons, giving up a huge costly penalty at the end of the game, or a lot of these receivers dropping these passes. You don't hear that. It's all Callahan. So that's my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Troy. Appreciate the call. I mean, it wasn't the only mistake made in the football game. Far from it. And to be quite honest, like, with how good that Denver defense is, you get the 1st and 20. Okay, well, things were getting difficult when you crossed the 50 and they started bringing the house. They'd let you get to that point, but then they'd close the door and turn you around once you got to the fringe of field goal range over and over. So I'm not sure that, and I get it. The understanding of the rules is important. I'm not belittling that point for the fans at all, but I agree with what Troy said. Like, I have a hard time really pointing anything on the defense as well as they played, Ramon, but also, like, it wasn't just one big mistake. It wasn't like that was a touchdown that they missed the ruling of, and then that lost you the game.
But see, that's the point, though, too, to be made. The defense gets more grace because of the reason you were in it. They were allowed some mistakes because of the success that they had.
For sure.
And Callie doesn't have that grace. He essentially got out coached by his special teams coach and his defensive coordinator, if you want to look at it, right? And that's the issue that a lot of people are having with. He gets no grace right now.
Johnny on YouTube says, we were sold that Rudolph and Levis were holding the team back. We replaced them and it looks the same. We were lied to, just like being lied about knowing the rule. Okay, well, they don't just get 1 week to show you that things are different. They get 17. They get 17 games over 18 weeks. So that's the point. That's exactly the point. Of course things were going to look a little bit like last year. It's week 1 in Denver. Give them time to fix it is all I'm asking. Give them time to fix it. Coming up, more of your phone calls, and we'll talk a little bit of college football week 2 next.
It's Ramon Foster for Prince's Hot Chicken, man, the original hot chicken. Currently, listen, it is football season. It is time to get your food together on the weekends. And you know what? Not even worry about it. Well, Prince's can also cater for you on Saturdays and Sundays too, man. From 15 people up to 1,000 plus if you're trying to do it big on the weekend, man. They can customize anything from your high-end event to your tailgating event. Prince's has you covered. Speaking of covered, y'all know it's Prince's Hot Chicken, but they also have vegan and vegetarian options like their portobello wraps, chickpea salad sandwiches, and more. And of course, you can't have the chicken without the sides, man. Mac and cheese, potato salad, baked beans, seasoned fries, greens, and coleslaw with some dessert. Also, man, get you some of the strawberry lemonade, too. But again, they have numerous locations around the city. The Nolensville Pike, Broadway, Cane Ridge, they got them all, man. Even if you're leaving the city at B&A, you can find them in between concourses C and D. To learn more about Prince's Hot Chicken, visit one of the locations or simply visit the website at princeshotchicken.com and make sure you tell them that Ramon sent you. It's Ramon Foster for All American Pest Control. Good people, I told y'all about my little friend that's on the back porch right now with 4 legs. Yeah, I'll be calling All American Pest Control. They're going to their website at yuckbugs.com, man. They handle all types of issues around your house. Cool part of it is they're family owned and proudly local. And I absolutely love supporting local, man. We'll keep money here in Middle Tennessee. And they've been serving Middle Tennessee for over 60 years. 60 years. Again, fall pests are here. Stink bugs. You'll see them coming out soon. Box elder bugs and Asian lady beetles try to invade your home every single fall. Don't wait until they're crawling on your walls or freaking out your kids. Get ahead of it now. They also have the Complete Care Max program, which I'm a part of, where you can bundle mosquito control, pest control, yard treatments, and termite protections with their Centricon. They service 8 times a year, plus free reservice if a pest comes back on the plan. You can mix and match it however you need to. There are no hidden fees, no pushy sales, just a peace of mind. You call them, they show up, usually within the next 24 hours, man. They are simply good. 5-star Google reviews from thousands of happy Tennessee owners. To learn more about All American Pest Control, go to their website at yuckbugs.com. Yes, that's yuckbugs.com.
It is 7:02. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Tennessee Titans head coach Brian Callahan spoke to the media yesterday and talked about his misinterpretation of the rule for Alec Ayumanor's catch on Sunday against the Denver Broncos that was ruled incomplete and not challenging to play.
I know you guys are all here for the conversation about the play with Alec and challenging the play and what I said after the game. And look, ultimately, my interpretation of the rule was wrong. I'll own it. We should have challenged the play, and that's pretty much all I can say about it is I'll own the mistake. We should have challenged it, and that's where it stands.
Today, defensive coordinator Denard Wilson, offensive coordinator Nick Holtz, and special teams coordinator John Bones Fossil will all speak to the media starting around 11 a.m. this morning. You can hear that presser on the Buck Rising Show right here on 104.5 The Zone. Another dramatic finish in primetime as week one of the NFL season kicks off with the Minnesota Vikings and quarterback J.J. McCarthy rallying back from down 11 points to start the fourth quarter to beat the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football 27-24. A rough start to McCarthy's NFL debut that featured an interception return for a touchdown, but quickly turned around in the fourth quarter with two touchdown drives, passes, and a rushing touchdown to go along with it with three consecutive drives. And a trade in the NFL last night as the Jacksonville Jaguars are trading running back Tank Bigsby to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 2026 fifth and sixth round draft pick. Bigsby had 5 carries for 12 yards in the Jaguars' win over the Carolina Panthers on Sunday. Bigsby is expected to compete as another kick returner in Philadelphia. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
A beautiful Tuesday morning in Music City, USA. Ramon and Will is fueled by Scooter's Coffee and a gorgeous, crisp fall day. Beautiful day to be up and talking football with you. Justin Hawkins makes the show happen. Ramon Foster is the NFL vet. I'm Will Bowling, 615-737-1045. We will get back to your Titans calls in 15 minutes. We are putting a moratorium on NFL football for 15 minutes, Ramon Foster, because there was quite the NFL weekend. There was also an even more chaotic college football weekend that we haven't even discussed yet because of all of the reaction we've had to week one.
Yeah, it's why it's Reaction Monday, and the NFL comes up first, man. But college football was also elite, and this upcoming weekend is doing the exact same schedule and tempo of it also, man. So a lot of questions from a lot of teams that got to be answered. I'll say namely the Vols, seeing what they can pull out this weekend. Big-time game in Georgia, man. Florida's got answers they got to get to. LSU, Ole Miss. Like, there's a ton of goodness going into this weekend.
Let's start local, shall we?
Yeah, man.
Vanderbilt, 44. Virginia Tech, 20. It is a significant development, Ramon, that Vanderbilt can leave Nashville, go to a Power 4 team, not play close to their best football, turn it over, have 11 penalties for 74 yards, and beat an ACC team by 3 touchdowns. Significant. What Clark Lee and Vanderbilt did, full credit, full tip of the cap to them, because in that second half, they bludgeoned Virginia Tech, outscoring them 34-0. They outgained Virginia Tech, Ramon, 321-21, and did not surrender a rushing yard in the second half.
I'm happy to say I was wrong. I picked against them in my Thursday 3. I thought Virginia Tech would answer, and it's because it was sight unseen with things that Vanderbilt had done, and I thought Virginia Tech had more of a reputation. And for those reasons, it was a night game, first home opener for them, and Vanderbilt hadn't responded the way I thought they had, recently. The way they did, this past weekend. That was a masterclass on how you walk into somebody's trap and take over somebody's trap. Being down the way they were and to have the mental fortitude as a team, to be coached well enough to stay locked in, to be good enough to say, you know what, we're not the old guys that you thought we were. And myself, I tipped my cap to Vanderbilt this past weekend. Even more so, it was the Virginia Tech management crew that posted a picture of Vanderbilt's locker room after they left. to have that sort of respect and discipline from your team of college athletes in today's world, I don't think y'all have seen it. I think I retweeted because Chris Lowe put it out there too. It was friggin' spotless with how they left the visiting locker room. I don't think y'all understand how messy it gets just because guys tape stuff thrown everywhere, Gatorade bottles, cups everywhere, banana peels.
Snack wrappers.
It just happens, right? And it's also almost just a part of the culture. Clark Lee, what you did this past weekend, before the game, during the game, and after the game with the Vanderbilt Commodores deserves a crap ton of respect, man. That was pretty good.
I think it was a really impressive statement by Vanderbilt, who's going to have to do it again against South Carolina on the road this weekend. Diego Pavia, 12 of 18, 193, 2 touchdowns and a pick. They carry it 37 times for 262 in this game. The explosive plays on offense, the pass game, and the run game. Macklin Young, 62-yard run, 8 for 95. Cedric Alexander was terrific again, averaging over 7 yards per carry. Virginia Tech has now lost 15 straight non-conference games against Power 4 teams since 2017.
Boys.
Brent Pry is 16-23 in his 4 seasons. That seat just got hot. And speaking of hot seats, South Florida beat Florida on Saturday. We thought that this would be a game. Ramon, I think we thought that it would be a game through 3 quarters or maybe 3.5 quarters, and Florida would figure it out. Let's start on the losing side of this with Florida on this one. DJ Lagway looks like a guy that hasn't practiced. And that was always my concern about this game and about the beginning of Florida's season and schedule, is that with all the continuity coming back, with the line, with the receivers, with the talent on that team, it all hinged upon them knowing where they needed to be and how DJ Lagway needed to get the ball to them. My biggest question was, how rusty will he look? And Amoni looks pretty dang rusty. He does. And that looks like a football team that was more concerned about going to Baton Rouge this weekend than it did Alex Golish's team coming into their house on Saturday.
It looks like a non-disciplined team that believed all the hype it had going to the regular season watching Florida play football. It looks like they are resting their head on the shoulders of what they think DJ Lagway is going to be, what their transfer portal turned into, and they're not playing the physical style of ball that you feel like they should. Not only just that, I know we missed the morning roast yesterday because yesterday was hot as hell, but I'm here to tell you, to have a player on your team to spit on somebody and get ejected from it and also set them up in a way to lose that game too, Billy Napier. Sir, I think it's a wrap for him. At that point, too. Like, you losing the swamp to South Florida, and then you also have Miami on this schedule, too. I don't know how he can get back out of this one. The thing that he has for him is this. You had the same scenario midway through the season in 2024. 2025, we are peeling back the scab that we thought was healed at this point. That's rough. And you made the excuse, not you, but his excuse was from our fan base was, oh, we have the dual quarterback system. You had an entire offseason, albeit he was injured. But this is your guy. Either you mismanaged him in the way his injuries popped up this year, or you thought you can just roll the football out and play football. That's not how it works. That's not they looked incompetent as a football team. You can't have that be your style of ball when you are the Florida Gators.
I think DJ Lagway is a supremely talented quarterback and football player. Ramon, no one in college football is above just not practicing and it just hitting the ground running and looking smooth right away. I mean, it is just really hard to do that in college football. According to ESPN research, the Bulls are the only the 4th team in the AP poll era that is since 1936 to win their first 2 games against ranked opponents while being unranked, joining 76 North Carolina. So before Jordan Hudson, but Bill Belichick was around. 2008, East Carolina, shout out, Pirates, Robert Walsh. 2012, Oregon State. South Florida plays at Miami this week. They're going to try to do it again.
There they are.
They're going to try to do it again. Alex Golish is going to be an SEC coach. And the next time an SEC team plays Alex Golish, it's going to be because he is an SEC coach. Yeah, I mean, it's just that simple. Nobody is scheduling Alex Golish.
Jimmy Sexton his agent at this
probably.
point? Probably. Can I say this?
When in doubt, yes.
Hey, check this real quick, too. Yeah. How silly, I don't want to say dumb, but how silly of a coach are you if you don't use those timeouts in those moments? You either tell your team, Moses in the Red Sea and let them score, or you call those timeouts to give yourself an opportunity. He did neither.
I know.
He did neither. And I'm even in my Madden armchair situation watching this like, you got to call a timeout.
Can't take him with you.
And he didn't take a timeout right there. He had 2 of them.
I know. It's crazy, man. We talked about this with Mark Long of the AP in the offseason about how Florida and the run they went on last year, we were going to learn how. Was that more about Florida? Or was it about the teams Florida was playing at the right time down the stretch? It feels like the answer is a little bit of both. Yeah. Florida improved last season. Billy Napier deserves a ton of credit for getting that team off the mat. I was never blown away statistically with what DJ Lagway did in the entire body of work last season. And this proves that, yes, while he arrived as a college quarterback, he has not yet arrived and had not yet arrived in that upper echelon Heisman tier that I think many people were putting him in before they'd really seen enough to make that statement definitively.
Well, I don't know if he make it back from Baton Rouge this upcoming weekend.
Well, and the thing is, last year Billy Napier had him sitting on the bench as his ace up his sleeve. You've already played that card. There's nothing else that's going to save Billy Napier that can provide you hope for the future other than winning games in the present. So now you got to go win one you aren't supposed to if you're Billy Napier. And maybe he will. I mean, he's gotten off the mat once.
Maybe.
And the caveat we give to early season results is maybe this is the equivalent of Northern Illinois beating Notre Dame.
No, straight up.
But I don't think so. Because I think Billy Napier has shown the propensity to have major letdowns like this far too commonly for it to just be a one-off game that you learn lessons from and then fix it.
At LSU, at Miami, versus Texas, and at A&M.
It's their next 4 games.
And State.
Yeah, it's not a gimme. We're going to talk about them coming up, too. We called that one on Friday. 615-737-1045 is our number as we stream the show live for you as well. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. What is the Titans' 2025 identity? What can they be on offense to find success? What did we learn about this team to where we can say, let's build around that? That's next.
It's Ramon Foster for Medical House Calls. That is the website. It is that time of the year you're going to have to use that website, man, because it's germs. It get a little cooler outside. Stay in the house a little bit longer. And people just cough and don't cover their mouths and all that type of stuff, man. Listen, medicalhousecalls.com is the website. There are 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can get same-day appointments available and also next-day guarantee. But here's the thing about it. They can be your primary health provider, urgent care, IV therapy, medical, weight loss also, if you want to do that in the confines of your home. But that's what they do. You schedule with them, and they will come to exactly where you want them to at a time that you set for yourself. I know schedules are busy, or some people simply don't want to go inside an ER room or the weight room, or work won't let you off to actually go see the doctor for something that you need. Well, you can use Medical House Call to get all of that done without the waiting, man. From sicknesses, infections, injuries, in-home labs, testing, and more. For a flat fee, you'll get an evaluation, full exam, treatment plan, and prescriptions if you need it. It's that time of the year where we need to make sure we're at our best, man, and pushing those germs away. They can have an IV for you for that, all right? So the website is medicalhousecalls.com, Monday through Sunday. You can call or text this number, 615-838-2375. But make sure you tell them that Ramon sent you.
All right, it's Will Bowling. You've heard about my new obsession. Daisy French onion dip is the best way to enjoy a dip. Enjoy chips, wings, veggies, whatever you like to dip. Just make sure you're dipping it in Daisy French onion dip. Yeah, Daisy's come out with this stuff. It is fantastic. This delicious Daisy French onion dip and a Daisy ranch dip. I'm telling you, these are a game changer. As delicious as a homemade dip, plus they're made with real herbs and spices, and other ingredients you'd find in your own kitchen. I can't fool my friends anymore. They know that it's Daisy French onion dip. When I bring it in the Tupperware in the nondescript container, they understand because they listen to the show and they know that it's made with real herbs and spices. Other ingredients you'd find in your own kitchen. If you want to impress your friends, though, that maybe aren't me, because I know about this stuff, take it to the next tailgate. Don't tell them it's Daisy French onion dip. Then when they love it and think that it's homemade, then you can reveal that it's Daisy French onion dip. You can get it at a grocery store near you. That's the good news for you as well. So gear up for the tailgate this weekend of the watch party and stop by your local grocery store to pick up some Daisy French onion dip. Ramona Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Kicking off a beautiful morning in Music City, USA. 615-737-1045. You miss any of our conversations, our callers, our interviews, you name it. You can get it wherever you download podcasts. Ramona Will is on Apple Podcasts, is on Spotify, is at 1045thezone.com. We invite you to please subscribe. It helps us quite a bit. Helps you as well because you never miss the show. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins. What is the Titans' offensive identity in 2025? It's the question I want to get into here, Ramon, because I feel like our stance, and just the stance of coaches in general, is that you learn a lot in week one that teaches you who your football team is, maybe even more so than preseason and training camp does. Who are you when the lights come on? What do you feel like we learned about the Tennessee Titans offense? Biggest thing about this offense for you, Ramon, that you feel like we took away from week one in Denver?
That Tony Pollard could be the team offensive MVP. I think is that. It was the most sure thing from week one I thought that they had until it got stopped. And the reason I bring that up is the inconsistencies of what Calvin Ridley provided to you this past week. Doesn't make him the guy. It makes him a threat. But if you have a Patrick Surtain, and I know it's not one of those on every single roster, but there are teams that can dedicate their secondary to stopping and holding him back. And I think the second answer after him is Tony Pollard running the ball, because there should be a strength in the offensive line and his ability to catch out the backfield when given the opportunity. I think the way I view it right now, if nothing doesn't change and nobody else steps up to take away the pressure of Calvin Ridley being wide receiver one here, then you find yourself as Tony Pollard and the offense. It's the way you got to view it. Cam didn't have enough happen good for him this past weekend, although you saw good things. I'm not saying he's not good. I'm saying there wasn't enough good that happened because of him this past weekend, because of drops, bad plays, or just being behind the sticks. I think it starts and ends with Tony Pollard right now.
Duck on YouTube says, we are the only market that talks about offensive identity. Offensive identity only comes up because of what happened with Jeff Fisher. He says, I hate it. I think that's a very valid conversation to say, who is the team? What do they do? What does this team do well? I think in a rebuild, Ramon, they are trying to reset what the identity of the game plan is, of what the offense is. That we're not the only market talking about offensive identity, are we?
No, absolutely not.
You think that's happening in Pittsburgh right now with Arthur Smith?
Absolutely. They put up 30-plus points, and it's like, oh, we got an identity here offensively. Like Aaron Rodgers is back. Like there's a lot of that. DK Metcalf is back. Sure. Oh, my gosh. There's plenty of that. I think you look at what happened last night with the Minnesota Vikings. Mm-hmm. The identity of what they are and they can strike at any moment is cool. I'll be quite honest with you. As a player playing against the Tennessee Titans, the identity that I assumed of them was very defensive. Like, I feel like the history of the Titans' success is on the back of the defense more than I ever thought of the offense.
Defense and running the football.
Yeah.
Cold weather football.
That was it to me.
Titans have always been really good at cold weather football.
It's been the one constant here I feel like you have been able to lay your hat on is the defense.
So, Ramon, if teams make the biggest jump from week one to week two, let's stop there for a minute. Do you believe in that?
Yeah, I do.
Why is that? Why do teams make such a big jump, in your opinion, from week one to week two?
Because it's all about the tape and film and how I can minimize my weaknesses at that point. We find out what worked for us well. What are we comfortable with? Guys can say, yeah, coach, we can run everything in the playbook. Until we see it in real time, that's where your biggest adjustment should happen right there. It is because you have the ability to dissect and figure out everything about yourself, and not just about yourself in training camp mode, about how opposing teams are going to choose to attack you. So with that being said, now I get to set my baseline for what I want to do more than what you're going to dictate that we do.
So what does this Titans team hang their hat on? You mentioned Tony Pollard. Does this need to be a run the ball and play defense team again this year? Is that the best thing for Cam Ward? Is that the best thing for Brian Callahan? Where is that balance between, hey, this could be the best formula for this football team to win right now, but on the other hand, developing Cam Ward and building a system around him might have some growing pains, What's the best pathway for us moving forward in 2025 and beyond?
It ain't no might, to your point. I know what you were getting at, but like that is the point of it all.
The point of it is what?
You're
building
gonna
around
have
Cam Ward and just putting up with some growing pains.
Absolutely. It's going to be, sucks to say, but run the football and ease the strain on him. To expect him to hit every single shot while also learning his team and his offense in real time, I don't want to call it unrealistic because he might turn into Houdini this weekend, but I'll say it's hard to do that. If you want to make Cam Ward a gunslinger, then what happens when those guys get covered up, right? When we look at the caliber of players that they are right now or where they've been on other teams, you talk about Van Jefferson. You speak about Calvin Ridley. We saw what that looks like without him. There was drops from Elik Ayumena, Chimere Dike, and where was, what's his name? Tyler Lockett.
Yeah.
Right? Teams will allow you to dump off the Chig. If you don't establish a bigger baseline for Cam Ward with the running game or the tight to the line of scrimmage plays, the drag routes, the quick comebacks, the quick screens, which they missed this past weekend, then you're asking for trouble. Passing 40 times a game, 30 times a game is a recipe for failure in certain situations unless you have the balance of getting situational football runs. Right? I think we look at what Geno Smith did this past weekend. I think he threw for 30 plus attempts. But he also had the threat of running there because they have Weapon X and Ashton Jeanty as a rookie.
Sure.
So you got to get established.
I think the big question is, first and foremost, how healthy is J.C. Latham? And how quickly can this offensive line start to look like what it could be, Ramon? How much time do you think this line realistically needs to meet the expectations we've had? How much of Sunday was you're playing one of the best fronts in football? How much of the offensive line struggles were this five hasn't played together a whole lot?
I've always said about 4 weeks. The adjustment to seeing week one versus the week two jump. At some point in time also, if they are losing games, there's the element of we're being challenged. This is the most expensive group on this team. It is, I feel like, the team with the most maturity added also. With those two things in mind, there will be times where coaches come in directly challenge that type of group. How do they say, screw it? We're fighting City Hall anyway. We got to go run the football or we got to keep Cam clean. Well, it is about a month into the season where you figure out those answers to the test right there. And I want to say either you got it or you don't in that period too, because success has to be on the backs of those dudes. It's too much offensively that relies upon them. We saw what it looked like when the dam broke. Like if they can have some positivity, and I admit, Denver is a good defense. They have some guys that understand how to play the game. Mm-hmm. And JC, I will also say this too, doesn't help the cause if he's out. And injuries are a part of the game, but if he can't go, Oli Udo looked problematic this past weekend.
Yeah, 2 sacks immediately when Latham went out. Struggled in limited opportunities. Brian Callahan was asked about the end of first half situation and when the Titans are backed up inside their own 10 and are throwing it 3 times in a row. Talking about what they were trying to do and what they knew Denver was going to give them. This was Brian Callahan speaking with the media yesterday.
That was the intent, was that I knew they were going to be in man coverage. We called a play that was designed to go beat man coverage. We had Elik across the field, and I was trying to see if I could took one shot at a place that I felt pretty good about what we were going to get, and I liked the play call in the moment. And we had a shot to hit it, and it would have been a pretty good explosive game that maybe would have gave us one more chance to see if we could get into field goal range, with 1 or 2 more plays, and with timeouts in our pocket as well. So, yeah, I mean, it didn't work. So, yeah, certainly in hindsight, you get criticized for it, and that's fair. So, yeah, that's all I can really add to that.
I think the question, Ramon, for Brian Callahan is going to be, when do I pick and choose my moments to be aggressive and let Cam cook? Backed up at the end of the second quarter, I mean, you hear Brian Callahan admitting there probably isn't the right context to let Cam spin it a little bit. I, at the very least, admire the intent to go for it a little bit because you have an exciting young quarterback. You have some young weapons. You got to figure out if they can get open and get separation against man coverage when they have to in a risky spot. Lesson learned. They couldn't in that play, in that moment. A lot of credit belongs to Denver within that. Some of it is the fact that you've just got some new receivers that, again, this is the challenge of week one. You're learning what you have and what you can get away with and when you can get away with it. So then now what's the corresponding adjustment Brian Callahan can make? First off, Ramon, I think they could use more screens. I think they could try to get the ball out of Cam's hand quickly. To Brian Callahan's credit, he called one on second down on that drive. And for whatever reason, 3 guys went out to block and nobody turned around to catch the football. Mm-hmm. That's again, holistic miss. That's not just on the coach. That's not just on the players. It just didn't work. Okay, well, that again lessens your margin for error within that moment. So to Brian Callahan's credit, he tried to throw a screen. Didn't work. The other thing I think they could do, Ramon, and I'm curious how much this becomes just who they are or how much it can become another pick your moment thing. I think Cam Ward's really comfortable in up-tempo situations. And I think Cam is really comfortable when he's in the shotgun, spread it out, let's move the ball with a little bit of pace. And I think that is one element of comfortability that you could get out of Cam is to say, hey, let's treat more situations like it's 2 minutes. I'm curious if that's something Brian Callahan could go to more if he feels like they can block it. And that's the big question. And that's the big concern, Ramon, at this point. If J.C. Latham is out, if this offensive line needs, like you said, 4 weeks to be its best version of itself, I hate to break it to you, but there aren't a lot of calls on play sheets for offensive lines that can't protect 4.
Yeah. But the issue that he's going to run into is you gotta be cautious with that though, the up tempo.
Yeah, you do.
You mentioned
and it's risky for your defense because it's harder to play complementary football.
And not only just that, but you put Cam on the islands where he's got to see and diagnose by himself instead of you game planning and scheming it up. I think Callahan in that first game trusted his guys a little bit too much, and it's okay to say that. I think the idea that coming out of training camp and knowing what your team did and how far you feel like they've come allowed you to think, oh, yeah, we can just go. But as a coach, sometimes you got to treat it as if, like, you got to treat your players as if not your pets, but how you raise your animals. Old Yeller is not going to eat the steak off the table because I've trained him and know him. But young Bruce, my second dog, he going to eat that steak sometimes. Sometimes you got to know where you can go with the guys that you have on your team. And that's why I feel like he's learning as a coach that not every time I'm just going to let you have free reign and roam around the house. And I think there was a little bit of this weekend, which is why I say also the week 1 to week 2 adjustments have to be made. I can't trust y'all as much as I think I can. Like he said, he knew they were going to man-to-man situations right there. How many of your wide receivers do you trust? I was speaking about trust. Do you trust can win one-on-one situations? And can your offensive line hold up in those moments too? So I agree, get the ball out of Cam's hands quick. If you want to talk about working with a pace, then it also means that you got to make sure that you have enough plays and the personnel to be able to operate too. Or will Cam tuck it and run it and be safe with it? Or again, can guys get open? I'm with you on the trust part, but that's, as a coach, you can't give it too much. Still, it's too early to give him that much because he hadn't seen enough in those moments, Cam, that is, to just operate at a pace like that. This is a little bit different than the preseason portion of it.
I partially disagree with you, to be honest with you.
I'm okay with that.
And Brian Callahan said yesterday, Cam has the freedom to make checks. Cam has the freedom to make changes. What he needs is also time on the play clock to make those changes. Mm-hmm. And Brian admitted and took accountability yesterday as well of like, I've got to do a better job of getting the play in more quickly. If Cam doesn't like what he sees pre-snap, he needs more than 5 seconds to make those reads. One of the ways you do that is by quickening the pace of getting in and out of the huddle and just going a little bit faster as an offense.
That's just a lot of trust for a guy that hadn't gone through this before.
It is. But I don't think they have any other choice on offense. Because with where they are up front and some of the growing pains you still have in the offensive line, I don't think you can just line up and run the ball down teams' throats against really good defensive fronts and have a whole lot of success.
Why not? I feel like that should be an expectation for this group. I know what you're saying, that they can't, but I'm of the mindset that they should. I think it's okay to say that they should. JC's one of the strongest dudes, I think, in the entire NFL. Zeitler has been good. Cushenberry is not a small center. And Peter and that left side over there of Dan Moore have been known to be able to run the football. Dan Moore comes from a run-first type of team, and Peter Skoronski is also a big-body guy. I push back on you on that one. Say, I think they should be able to.
They didn't on Sunday.
I know.
But again, we're going to find out. Is that about Denver or is that about the Titans?
Exactly.
I don't know.
There should be the expectation that they should be able to, in my personal opinion.
I'd love that. I'd love for them to be able to just line up and run the ball and have success and impose their will. I think they need another element. I don't think that's where this offense is totally at its best after watching Sunday. I think opening things up will also open you up to some mistakes from Cam Ward. Mm-hmm. But this offense needs a way to create some explosive plays. And I think you do that by getting Cam in more of a quote-unquote Miami system like we've talked about all offseason. Mm-hmm. Let's go to Ryan in Manchester up next to the phones. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, Will, about 45 minutes ago, you made a point that I wanted to respond to, but I think that you said something about why are Titans fans so upset after just 1 week. And for me, and I think more fans that pay more attention, like we left last year with this thought of, can Brian Callahan actually call an offense? And all the excuses were baked in. It was Will Levis. It was this. It was that. His offensive line. But there was still this big question, can he call offense? And then you get into this year, and it's the 3 pass plays right before halftime. That just seems like very general knowledge stuff. It's not high-level coaching. And then I think something that's not pointed out, the sack that Cam took when we were in field goal range, and then you got a 3rd and 24 coming up. I understand the timeout. When a sack happens like that, you got to get everybody back, and sometimes you're going to have a delay of game. But then to call timeout, to call a chunk play, and get out of field goal range, that to me, again, that's just as bad as right before halftime. You give up 3 points, you lose 30 yards there. Those things exacerbate not knowing the rules later. It's like you've stacked up these bad decisions after bad decisions, and then what you guys were just talking about, like constantly breaking the huddle with no time for adjustment. I don't care if it's a rookie quarterback or not. Some of the adjustments that Cam made throughout the game were great, but they were all rushed. And I think it's just a combination of all of that stuff that you got to look at, and it's like, man, I don't know that Brian Callahan is an offensive play caller, and that's where I think most Titans fans are, and that's the frustration, the continuation. And the one thing I really will disagree with is it's just week 1. Well, week 1 is the most prepared game. I mean, that is the game you have been playing 3 preseason games for, preparing for, knowing what you're going up against with the Denver defense, and just being this unprepared. It doesn't look good, especially when special teams, that was a heel last year, was so great, so prepared. Defense, same way. The penalties, notwithstanding, but I'll hang up, let you guys go with it. But yeah, I think the Callahan questions are fair, and I think it's just a continuation from last year.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate the call. Ramon?
When you look at his situation of it being not his first year, it is a new year, right? Each coach will tell you last year won't be the same as this year coming up. I'm tired of saying it's week 1. My mindset has always been, as a player, we got the next one.
Is, to his point, saying week 1 is the week you're most prepared for. Is that an accurate statement?
I think you have a script that you want to run and stay on pace for. I do think you have a little bit longer of a time to get ready for week 1, but that doesn't necessarily mean success just because of it too. There is, and this is an attack on Callahan in this moment. There is an adjustment that have to be made for what you see in real time. I say this because no team knows what the other one's going to do with this brand new built team. No matter how common the players from last year are, it still is a new team, right? Vance Joseph probably called some different stuff that Callahan didn't adjust to. I do think, so a guy just called in a second ago, there may be an indictment on his plan that he had and the readjustment to that plan that he did not make, to your point. There is that side of it too. Everybody's got a game plan until they get punched in the mouth. I hate these type of cliches, but they all resonate in this moment. And you couldn't account for I mean, Calvin dropping footballs or them not connecting on passes down the field, or the fact that Denver did adjust to committing and stopping the run. What was the adjustment? That goes to the play caller. The play caller is also the head coach. It's that part. It is also the indictment of, man, we gave you the ball 4 times in short field with the short field, 2 times with the short field, and you didn't get any points. Everything that y'all saying is going back to the head coach again. And the issue is, to Will's point, and I think everybody else, and the point that we've been trying to make here is, you're not going to fire him after week 1. I'm not saying there's not a consequences of these things continually to happen. We're not trying to save Brian Callahan's job. If Brian Callahan gets fired, he's going to sit at home and collect millions of dollars a month. Okay, so I don't think anybody cares about his feelings. What we're saying is this. In the world of sports and how the NFL and any sport is, professional or college, it is the next one. And all we have right now to do is to sit here and talk about this one and wait on the next one and hope whatever happened last week in Denver doesn't show up again next week or week 8 or week 15. There is grace to be given to a coach or players to say, that's my bad, I'll fix it next time. Y'all want us to come up here and say, fire this man right now. There hasn't been any coach fired after week 1 in recent history, to my understanding.
You're right.
So that's the point of it all. Y'all can call and say fire. You can want his head. But Miss Amy's already paying. I'm sure Rand, Vrabel just got off the books. I'm not sure if John Robinson's still on the book, on top of all the other staff too. So what do you want other than for me to sit up here and Will to say, we'll have to wait and see? Call him silly, call him dumb, call him weak, all the things that you want to. He's still your head coach, and that is the point of this entire conversation. Fire him, and then what? Who are you elevating at this point? Denard's never been in this position.
We're not diminishing the concerns and the challenges and the mistakes.
Never.
It's the conclusion at the end of those concerns and mistakes. We're just giving him time to fix it.
It's always next week.
Yeah, that's the part of it. More of your phone calls of the Titans next. Moving to Nashville and relocating around Nashville is challenging. It's an it city. California has migrated here. New Yorkers want to move down here as well. You name the area of the country, and people want to come to Nashville. You need an experienced agent if you are looking to relocate, if you're looking ahead of that new neighborhood you've always been looking at, you've always dreamed of being here. You need Bernie Gallerani Real Estate to do that. Bernie turns complicated issues into 5-star Google reviews because he's the real estate agent who guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he'll buy it. Yeah, it's no risk to you. Bernie will let you out of the contract at any time. He is the real estate agent who has the 30-day guarantee, and he's local. He knows the market, and he knows your goals. You're going to talk with him personally. You're not going to get that cookie-cutter national agent that doesn't understand the neighborhood. 615-428-2644 is his number. It's a Nashville area code. It's also his cell phone number. You can go online to BernieGallerani.com or call him. If you're looking to relocate, trust my friend, Bernie Gallerani with Bernie Gallerani Real Estate at 615-428-2644. Ramona Willow, 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up hour number 2. Glad you're with us. Hope you're having a good start to your Tuesday morning.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Hey, look, I'd rather be arguing about football than all agree and there's not football going on.
That's
We're
very
so
true.
back. I don't take it personal.
Yeah. My bad.
I enjoy it.
If I raise my voice at y'all, I apologize.
You were passionate.
I apologize.
You don't have to agree with us. You just have to like the YouTube feed.
That's all we ask.
Yeah, right. If you hate like it, that still counts for us.
Punch it harder.
We're okay with it.
Punch it harder.
Doesn't bother me.
Punch it harder.
615-737-1045. Here's Mike in Cleveland.
Mike!
Good morning, Mike.
We're so back.
Y'all ain't back. I'm not gonna give
Mike.
you what you expecting. No,
Come on, Mike.
I'm not. No, man. Cuz, man. All right, y'all know we done had years together and then showed
We
each other
have.
a lot of love. So what I'm gonna say might not sound like love. I told y'all in the off season. Right now, I'm like cousin Eddie in Major League, just sitting in the sidelines with my arms crossed, like they suck. They're not doing nothing. Really ain't gonna do nothing. I've been saying all of this stuff all off season, and the reason I have been quiet and haven't been saying this stuff, like calling y'all on the air, is because I wanted to be wrong. You did what I'm saying, but this is like this is carryover from last year with Callahan. We constantly keep getting oversold on players by names, on coaches because he had an offensive mind. His dad is the offensive line Jesus. Forgive me, Lord. Folks saying
Hallelujah.
all of that stuff right there. Hallelujah. Amen. Folks saying all of that stuff right there, man. Like, we get it. Titans know how to go and have a great marketing strategy to make sure that they going to sell tickets. We don't need no more marketing strategies. We don't need no more overhypes. We don't need no more big free agent wide receiver signs and all. We need y'all to go show it on the field. Right now, listening to the show, I feel like it's deja vu. I feel like I'm in the Matrix seeing the black cat. We have talked about the offense identity over and over and over. They didn't want to call it a rebuild. It's a retooling. We've had these same conversations over and over. And the only thing that's changed, the only thing that's really been different is who's in that office. But it's been the same results on the field for years. So I think the question needs to be, what is this franchise's identity other than pulling the trigger quick and firing somebody? I ain't saying, we need to sell the team. I'm not going back to that conversation, but it needs to start from the top and then go and work its way down. Because right now, they don't know who they are. They don't know who's in charge, and they don't know what they got, and it's showing on the field. And that's why when these players leave Tennessee, they're like, no, I'm good to be going out of there. Great city, but franchise is dismal. Boom, I'm out.
Thank you, Mike. Look, I understand that we're having the same conversation we've been having, but until it gets fixed, what else do you like? What else do we have, Ramon?
This is it.
And to Mike's point, and I disagree with one key part of it, where he says the only thing that's changed is the person in the front office. No, the thing that's changed is the guy playing quarterback wearing number 1. That's why this is a relevant conversation again, is how should the offense change and be adjusted to fit Cam Ward? Is it worth just building everything to just let him go out there and say, all right, Cam, here are the keys, go drive, buddy? Are you willing to risk what that could mean for your defense in terms of complementary football? If you do more tempo, if you move him out of the pocket, if you try to open things up, he might throw more picks, but that's the question we're asking. Is that what is best for this franchise right now? Just let Cam cook and say, yeah, it might be better for us to be a run the ball, play defense team, but we got to figure out how Cam Ward can take steps forward and grow and adjust. That's the point we're making, Mike. That's where things could become different.
It could. There's so much more to this conversation. I know we're up against it, so y'all hold on. We're gonna let y'all in too, but this is a deeper conversation. You're right. I mean, Mike spoke how a lot of his fan base, I guess, feel. And
I understand the frustration. I understand the frustration. This is why
week 1.
I'm kind of making a different point here, but this is why at the end of every year, when fans want to tank and want to lose, Ramon always looks at the camera and says, "You can't stomach that.
You can't stomach it.
This is why." Because it's not fun. I get it.
You can't stomach it.
I completely understand fans' frustrations. I really do. They deserve time to learn how to fix it and build around their quarterback. That's all I'm saying. 615-737-1045. We'll go open phones. We got Austin Price at 8:20 in hour 3. We'll talk Tennessee and Georgia. A lot of Vols injury updates to get to. We'll do that at 8:20. But more of your phone calls of the Titans coming up next.
Work. It's what we do. Part of who we are. There is joy in work. And no matter what size your business is, the dedicated commercial team at Two Rivers Ford will find the work trucks and vans that keep your business moving. And Two Rivers is the only dealer that offers a 90-day free fleet management program that can help you save money on every single mile. The Commercial Vehicle Center at Two Rivers Ford. We work for you.
It is 8:03. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Tennessee Titans head coach Brian Callahan spoke to the media yesterday and talked about his misinterpretation of the rule on wide receiver Alec Ayumanu's catch that was ruled incomplete and deciding not to challenge the play on Sunday against the Broncos.
I know you guys are all here for the conversation about the play with Alec and challenging the play and what I said after the game. And look, ultimately, my interpretation of the rule was wrong. I'll own it. We should have challenged the play. And that's pretty much all I can say about it is I'll own the mistake. We should have challenged it, and that's where it stands.
Coming up today, defensive coordinator Denard Wilson, offensive coordinator Nick Holtz, and special teams coordinator John Bones Fossa will all speak to the media starting around 11 a.m. this morning. You can hear that presser right here on 104.5 The Zone, courtesy of the Buck Rising Show. Another dramatic finish in primetime as Week 1 in the NFL wrapped up last night with the Minnesota Vikings and quarterback J.J. McCarthy rallying from down 11 points to start the fourth quarter to beat the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football, 27-24. A rough start to McCarthy's NFL debut that featured an interception return for a touchdown in the third quarter that quickly turned around in the fourth quarter with 2 touchdown passes and a rushing touchdown to go along with it on 3 consecutive drives. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you have to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show, Tuesday morning, Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee. He's Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Live in studio today, 615-737-1045. Scooters Coffee brings us to you, keeps us on air. Locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. VolQuest's Austin Price. Previews Tennessee and Georgia coming up in 15 minutes. To the phones. Johnny is in Nashville next. What's up, Johnny?
Morning, Johnny.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, I want to flip the script on everything going on this morning.
Do it.
You know, Titans fans, I was born and raised here, man. Titans fans need to chill. It's one game. And I think everybody's ready to put Callahan on the stake here because of one bad decision he made, or 2 or 3. But listen, a lot of responsibility's got to be on these players, man. We had, how many penalties we have? Like 47? I mean, we had a lot of penalties. The O-line looked a little off. There's a lot of pros to this game. But the big thing that people forget is Denver's a damn good football team, and people forget about that. We have a rookie QB. Everybody needs to relax. And the big thing I want to say this is if you're not willing to go through the growing pains during this time of year, then don't be there in December when we have some wins. Ramon, I have a quick question for you. Since you're the expert here, what is the opinion and what is the timing frame on Pat's interference calls? Because the reason why I feel like that Denver got to the ball or got to the player a little early, and we weren't getting those calls like Denver was. What do you guys think about that? Have a great day.
You too, Johnny. Appreciate you holding, too.
Appreciate the call.
Johnny, I'm going to be honest with you. It's just reputation of those guys always make those plays. I thought there's just watching another guy that's very familiar that gets edgy at times. Jalen Ramsey this past weekend was super edgy. He was allowed to do certain things because he is that type of guy. Patrick Surtain, I think, was ahead of the football a few times. But everybody and their mama know Patrick Surtain is the reigning league defensive MVP. Your reputation does precede you sometimes in the NFL, and sometimes you're given grace in those type of situations. Same way Jeffrey Simmons was called for that unsportsmanlike conduct at the end of the game. Jeffrey Simmons has a reputation of being a guy that's on the edge like that. That's just how it goes. I hope that answered your question, Johnny. Also, people don't want to hear you be positive. I appreciate it and I love the reset, but I'm joking here. But, legitimately, that's why.
Let's go to Titanomics. Whew. What up, Titanomics?
Morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning. Hey, real quick, y'all. So I want y'all guys to help me with this play call thing, because I believe Callahan, I might be beating the dead horse, but on his interview, didn't you guys hear him say something about the offsides call by Jeffrey Simmons?
Yep.
Where he was like, I thought you had to touch a player first.
Correct.
Before it could be called offsides. Well, isn't that engrossment? Like, isn't that a neutral zone infraction?
Brian did not think that Jeff was in the neutral zone. He thought he just jumped forward. He said that after the game as well. They did not believe that Jeff got all the way over the line.
I thought one of them moved. I thought the right tackle twitched.
Right, but that will still be encroachment, not offsides. Offsides is having a clear path to the quarterback. That wasn't the case. They called offsides, but they didn't call neutral zone infraction or enroachment. So I think Callahan should have been like, well, if they would have called anything, they should have called enroachment instead of offsides.
Yeah. Either way, I think he was going to lose that one, Titanomics, simply because they don't call those. They don't pull those calls back either. That's the other part. When they call that, it's done. And I thought Jeff got the right tackle to move right there, but you're right. Encroachment offsides is, I guess, splitting hairs for the most part.
Paul is calling from I-24 this morning. Good morning, Paul.
Oh, bless you, Paul.
Yeah, thank you guys for your prayers and safe travels. Good morning. I'll be quick. I got a couple of bullet points and a shout out. Shout out first. Let's go Austin Peay for making the Georgia starters play way longer than they should have. So you're welcome, ball fans.
Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Number two, Ramon, your steak analogy is one of my favorite I've ever heard. I've listened to the show for a long time. I don't call in that much. And I think Callahan is used to dealing with dogs that don't eat the steak off the counter, and he's going to have to get used to dogs that will eat the steak. They're unpredictable. And I think that will be part of his learning process. But we're going to have to, I think, I'm a Dolphins fan. I've been here my whole life. So I became a Dolphins fan before there was a team, and we suck. Like, I'm still a Dolphins fan. I'm loyal. I'm also a Titans fan. But I think we got two sandwiches to eat. We got a crap sandwich of running the ball, being boring, and bringing Cam along slowly, or we got a crap sandwich of letting Cam sling it all over the yard and learn that way. But I think the Titans fans need to, as a Titan fan myself, we need to just chill out and let everybody grow, or we're just going to reboot the Matrix and recycle.
Yeah.
Firing people and hiring people and the same thing. We need growth, and this fan base needs patience, which it doesn't have. But that's all I got.
Thank you, Paul.
Appreciate it,
and
Paul.
To your point about Austin Peay, head coach Jeff Ferris will join us at 6:30 tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm looking forward to it. He's going to be hyped.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Rudy is up next. What's up, Rudy?
What's up, Rudy?
Good morning. I'm a first-time caller. I got
Welcome.
brave enough to call in, and I just wanted to share that, I think the Titans fans, got to, just like the previous caller said, kind of take a chill pill. But my big thing was that the not being able to take advantage of the turnovers when we had real opportunities there at the end, but the penalties ended a lot of big plays for us. And, I mean, these weren't just penalties by, rookies, so to speak. These were pros that were getting these penalties, especially the corner, man. He got wore out. I can't think of his name, but he just came to the team. And that was just sad to see us make a lot of headway, because to me, I felt like the offense was doing well except for the penalties.
Yeah, no doubt.
Thank you, Rudy.
I mean, the penalties is most definitely going to hurt you, especially when you're in the red zone like that. The rules are no penalties, no sacks, no turnovers.
Penalties are a shared mistake, too, aren't they, Bone?
Yeah.
It's not just on the coaching staff. That's not just on the players. That's not just on the officials. The penalties are one area that this team can take a major step from week 1 to week 2. I mean, Ramon, it's going to be hard not to, considering how many penalty yards they had and over 130 of them.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about tangible areas of growth for Brian Callahan and his staff, at home, those should be cleaned up Sunday.
I would hope so.
I think that legitimately surprised this staff, how sloppy they were from a penalty perspective. And to be fair, Alex, that crew, what is it, Brad Allen? I was thinking Alex Kemp. Brad Allen's crew throws a lot of flags. Part of that is just because of the guys that were calling your game. Now, maybe not 130 yards worth, but we'll see. I think that's the theme of the day, Ramon. We understand the frustrations. We understand the accountability that the fans want from the staff. Let's see how they respond and make adjustments.
Then we can do with it what we want to at that point.
Without question. Let's see how they respond. Austin Price joins us, previewing Tennessee and Georgia next.
Something awesome is coming to Genesis Diamonds next weekend. It's September 19th, 20th, and 21st. It's a 3-day designer engagement ring event showcasing the world's top 2 brands in bridal jewelry, Tacori and Verragio. Tacori from California and Verragio from New York, both flying in their entire lines, including all new rings for this special event. You can explore hundreds of exquisite American-made designer rings. Plus, Genesis will have special incentives, 0-interest financing, and up to $5,000 in instant savings. In addition, Genesis has expanded selection of GI-certified diamonds for this 3-day event. All shapes, all sizes, rock bottom prices. This is the best of the best. Every Tacori ring is handcrafted by master artisans with exceptional quality. Every Verragio ring is made by hand with unmatched attention to detail. These are the brands other jewelers only wish they could offer. But at Genesis, they have the entire Tacori and Verragio collections, and they'll be on display next weekend. Don't miss the bridal jewelry event of the year, September 19th through the 21st at Genesis Diamonds. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Are you trapped in a high-rate mortgage watching your hard-earned money vanish every month? Stop. Right now at Loan Pronto, they are delivering the lowest mortgage rates in 3 years. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Loan Pronto's rate reduction home loan program is a streamlined, low-cost way to slash your house payments by hundreds of dollars a month. Lock in a fixed rate as low as 4.99% APR and close in as little as 2 weeks. No appraisal needed in most cases, and here's the kicker. You can skip your next 2 house payments entirely. Don't wait. Rates this low won't last. Call Loan Pronto now for your free, no-obligation quote. Loan Pronto is amazing. Just imagine lower payments, more money in your pocket, and a fresh start with a better mortgage. Call 615-499-5780 or visit loanpronto.com to lock in your new low rate and skip those next 2 payments. Don't let high rates hold you back. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com right now. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Hour 3 of the program, Tuesday morning, Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee on a very big week for Josh Heupel and the University of Tennessee football volunteers, along with Vol Network analyst and Vol for Life, Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling, joined as we are every Tuesday at this time by our good friend Austin Price of VolQuest and On 3. Austin, good morning. How are you?
I'm great. I mean, this little 12, 13-week run here, depending on how long Tennessee plays football, I get to see Ramon on the weekends. It just makes everything a little bit better, you know what I mean?
Makes my morning better every day.
My heart smiled right there, Austin. I was glad to talk to you this weekend. We were civil and working on making sure we get you to that golf club that you're trying to get to. I got you. Say less, Austin, as the kids say.
I mean, Ramon and I just sit back and listen to Jason Swain tell little juicy stories from years gone by, and that's where it got the most fun.
It was. I enjoyed it. This weekend was enjoyable, man. Now, this upcoming one, Will, you want to start us off?
A little bit different. Before we get to Tennessee and Georgia, though, Austin, is there anything you feel like you learned? Is there anything you feel like the staff can take away from ETSU on Saturday?
That the team knows how to take care of business against an inferior opponent. I think that's the only thing you take away from it is they did what they're supposed to do, right? They're way better than ETSU. They're supposed to beat ETSU 72-17, and they did just that. And so if you look at Georgia, didn't handle Austin Peay like you thought. Now, I do think the game was supposed to be at 3:30, got bumped up to 2:30 because of weather. Then the weather hit when it was at halftime. There was a 2-hour delay. So I don't want to put a ton of stock into, that effort and that final score for Georgia. But at the same time, like Tennessee went out there, they did what they were supposed to do against an inferior opponent, and that's 2 weeks in a row that they performed the way they're supposed to perform against the team they're supposed to beat. So I think that's what you take away from it. Is it's a motivated team, it's a veteran team, it's a team that still has some inexperience, whether it be at this level and or just overall in the college game, but you like where this team's head's at 2 games in.
Austin, what do you like about Joey Aguilar so far? And are some of the drop passes on him at all? Is there a more catchable ball that he can be throwing? How do you think the staff is working through that this week with a massive one, obviously, coming up Saturday against Georgia?
Well, 6 drops Saturday, 5 of them were by tight ends or running backs. No, I don't think there's anything you can do. I mean, Deshaun Bishop had one hit him right in the hands, which is funny because the whole thing was made about how he's not wearing gloves. He's old school, not wearing gloves. If he wears his gloves, he's probably catching that ball. Miles Kitselman, sure-handed as they come, drops one over there on the sideline. It was not a difficult throw or pass to catch. No, I just think, again, it just boils down to just, everybody executing. Sometimes it's going to be Joey not executing on accuracy. Sometimes it's not going to be the receiver or the tight end or the running back not executing on just fundamentally catching the football the way you're supposed to. I think what you take away from that is you like where they're at because they're still putting up solid numbers. Those were 288 in the first half, 23 of 31. Could have easily been 26 or 27 of 31. And they know there's room to improve. I think that's the biggest thing is there's room to grow. You've not hit the ceiling, so to speak, as an offense. And I think that should be exciting for Josh Heupel. It should be exciting for Joey Halsley, and it should be exciting for the entire offense.
Austin Price with us of VolQuest and On 3. Austin, this game has different storylines in it. One, the Vols hadn't beat them since 2016. There's that component, man, that plays a part. I guess motivation is easy, but what is Heupel's mindset into knocking off the last of the big 3 if you've had those conversations or understand how he is as a coach?
I think Josh Heupel likes big games. I think Josh Heupel likes the challenge of trying to beat a team that has had his number a little bit. It's not that they've lost the games. It's that offensively, Tennessee's looked like a totally different team against Georgia than everybody else. Seems like Kirby Smart and the defense have had the number of, Joey Halsley, Josh Heupel. Back before then, it was Alex Golesh. Did Tennessee do anything this offseason to counter what Georgia likes to do against them? Can they finally start to put up some points? you look at the little progressions they have made. You had 130 yards rushing 2 years ago. 80 of that was on the first play. Last year, it was 152. And it was more spread out through the whole game. It was not just one big play. Dylan Sampson ran the ball effectively right around 100 yards. Can they do that again this year? This is a Georgia defensive line that does not have a Jalen Carter in the middle. That does not have, the Davis kid in the middle. It's a good team, really good players, but they don't have that one dominant force in the middle of the defensive trenches. How does that help Tennessee? What adjustments have they made this offseason? I think that's the biggest thing in this game for Josh Heupel. Yeah, it would be the last of the big three to check off and would be a huge moment, in my opinion, if they're able to win the game. The question is can they score enough? Can Tennessee stop the run on defense? And offensively, can they score enough points?
Yeah, the other part of that is, like you said, the scoring points part of it. Georgia has gone, I think, what was it? They've gone 3 for 3 on fourth down themselves. That's got to be something that Tim Banks and his defense got to figure out. Not just that, but Gunnar Stockton will run the ball defensively, because to win these big games, championship caliber teams, it does start with the defense, man. How do you view their containment of Gunnar Stockton, and not just him, but the health of the interior defensive line also? How do you view that one going into it, Austin? You confident in the guys that they should be able to get back, with Jackson Moore being a part of that equation?
Well, David Hobbs won't be back. We'll see if Jackson Moy can go. Obviously, he's got to, pass a bunch of tests and practice this week. All indications have been given by people around the scenes that he expects to play, but you know how that works. I mean,
yeah,
they're not exactly the most, trustworthy when it comes to injuries around there. Like, the number of kids, they're like, oh, they're good. And you get Saturday morning, it's like, well, something happens on Tuesday. Something happens on Thursday. We'll see. But if not, then Tennessee's going to have to piecemeal it together. It's going to make Nathan Robinson uber important on Saturday if Jackson Moy can't go. Nathan Robinson's going to have to play his best game, because they need a big guy like that can kind of clog up the middle. That's what you miss with Moy. Dominic Bailey, he's fine sliding inside, but ultimately you'd like to have him at the strong side defensive end spot, not sliding inside. They need Tyree Weathersby back. All of those things are really, really important. And then how motivated is a guy like Tyree West, who was committed to Georgia for over a year 4 years ago, and Georgia cut him loose. He ends up at Tennessee, and this is his last go-around against the Bulldogs. So defensively, they've got to be able to stop the run. The defensive ends, Caleb Herring, Josh Josephs, Jordan Ross, they cannot, they've got to be able to steal the edge. They cannot allow Gunnar Stockton to take what could easily be a loss and turn it into an 8-yard gain on a 3rd and 7 to pick up a first down. They've got to be able to perform at a higher level, in terms of that, this week. I think Stockton is super sneaky in his ability to make plays with his feet. He doesn't strike you as someone who's really athletic, but he's sneaky quick. And so you've got to be able to really monitor him and prevent him from picking up first downs and extending drives with his feet.
Austin Price of AllQuest joining us this morning, as he does every Tuesday at 8:20. Austin, where do you see Tennessee having an advantage in this matchup? On paper, is there any one thing you circle to say that's where the Vols could have some success?
The home crowd.
That's a big one.
In my opinion, to me, that's the biggest thing he has that's going for it. That, and there is some unknown. Rusty Manziel was on the Rocky Top Rewind with us the other night, and he talked about how, defensively, Georgia has been holding a lot back. They've not showed that much through the first couple of games, and I don't doubt that one bit. Tennessee's not shown all that they've been working on either. They've got a bunch of stuff to potentially show on Saturday. I'm intrigued to see how that plays out, because do some of these adjustments from the off season, things Tennessee's been working on since February and March and all the way through camp till now, does that show well on Saturday in this football game? So I think ultimately it's a game of chess. It's a game of chess, and we'll see kind of what Tennessee can do with it, and if they're able to get any kind of early advantage. But for me, it's the crowd, because I think whether it's getting offensive momentum early, getting the crowd into it, or defensively, this crowd will be juiced up come 3:30. And it's up to me, or it's up to the offense. It's up to Tim Banks defensively, I think, to bring pressure, to make plays, to get the crowd into it more. If Tennessee can't get off the field, and they get them into a 3rd and 8, and they give up 9, and they get them into a 3rd and 6, and they give up 10, it takes the air out of the stadium when teams do that. Whereas if you're able to get off the field, it's just going to ratchet up more and more and more, and that's where Tennessee starts to really, cook with grease, so to speak. So I think it's the crowd. I think that's the biggest advantage Tennessee has. I think Tennessee's on par with them in certain spots, probably not others. But I think the biggest thing is, can you take advantage of the home field atmosphere? It's something they've really not done since Josh Heupel got here against Georgia.
Austin, kind of two questions in one on David Sanders. First, do you feel like, again, and maybe it's just a guessing game at this point, considering how odd this whole thing has kind of been, do you see him being available Saturday? And if he is, does this staff take the risk of starting him in his first game against Georgia, or does the continuity and what Jesse Perry has shown so far in this reshuffled offensive line make more sense for this Saturday?
That's a great question, or great two questions. And I would tell you that I wish I was able to answer them, but I'm not. That's a question for the training staff on whether they will clear him to play, something they have not done to this point, and a question for Glenn Ellerby and Josh Heupel on whether they would start him. I don't know about the clearing part. That's up to that again. When you talk about the medical side of things, that's out of the head coach's hands a lot of times. But let's say he is cleared. I don't think they start him, but I do think they make him available. Or if they did start him, I think it would be situational in terms of, let's say Georgia gets the ball first, they drive to the 50, they punt it, and they've done it to 3. Does Josh Heupel really want the first play for David Sanders to be backed up along the goal line? I think you have to set the kid up to succeed. And so if he's available, I think he's definitely going to play. The question is, does he start? And I'm not so sure about that.
That's fascinating. I was just going to go that same route. You mentioned there's no Jalen Carter, but it's Georgia. Georgia going to always have a Kirby Smart D tackle interior. The linebackers that they have are two of the best in the entire country when you mention those guys. But Austin, I feel like the last 3 that the Vols have had, they've been there. Okay, yeah, you punch them in the mouth, you punch back. But then they decide to change tires, put chains around them, get a turbo on top of it, man, or supercharge on top of their motor, and they decide to grind in. What I'm getting at is this. In the first couple of weeks that the Vols have been out there, and I know it's Syracuse and I know it's ETSU, but the level of physicality that Wendell Moore and Sam Pendleton have brought, right, and Sham Umaroff, if he's going to be there also, the complexity of how they've pulled and gotten the space. Let's just go to front 7 versus the front 5 that the Vols have. Do you feel better about how they've displayed what their physicality is at the start of this season versus what Georgia has historically done to the Vols, and that is dig in and push you back? Do you see it differently before Saturday kicks off?
I do think Tennessee's a more physical offensive line. I think they're a more talented offensive line than they were a year ago. I do think they miss Cooper Mays to a degree. I know that the snap deal at the end of the first half Saturday drove Heupel crazy. But at the same time, Pendleton has done a solid job and does have a certain heaviness to him for the offensive line at the center spot that I think gives him an advantage over William Satterwhite, who's a little lighter. But, yeah, I think there's an athleticism and there is a punch that the guards have had through the first couple of weeks where you're like, okay, I see you offensive line, which is why I'm
We lost Austin. Oh, we might have gotten him back. Austin, can you hear us again? All right, we lost
line, which
there he is.
A positive deal.
Sorry, Austin, we lost you there for a minute, but I think we got you back now. Wrapping up here and just looking at some of the receivers and the way Georgia Austin has retooled that position with Noah Thomas and Zachariah Branch coming in, the Nashville native London Humphreys getting healthy again this season and having a big impact. Do you trust Colton Hood and Ty Redmond, Austin, against those guys at the outside? And who else needs to step up with Ricky Gibson and Jermon McCoy not available?
I think a lot of players need to step up on the defensive side. I would tell you that Boo Carter is important in this game. I think ultimately Jalen McMurray can slide over the corner, which helps a young guy like Ty Redmond, because this is a game, Will, where the lights are going to be bright, and you wonder how it affects a freshman or an inexperienced player. So I think a guy like Jalen McMurray plays a huge role in this game, which allows Boo Carter to have more opportunity at star. Do I trust them? Sure. I mean, I like the receivers that Georgia got out of the portal. I don't think any of them are just like, oh my gosh, like they're unstoppable. Like I don't see any of those players in that same realm. Could Branch run past somebody and get loose? Absolutely. But Tennessee's got similar players that can do the same thing to Georgia's secondary. So I think ultimately they like what they have. They've just got to continue to stay healthy. This is a big game for the secondary in terms of, I'm not sure they'll rotate a bunch. Like I think Andre Turrentine's going to play a ton of snaps in the back end. And so how many snaps is he out there? That's why it's important for Tennessee on offense to extend drives, to keep the defense on the sidelines. It's also important for the defense to get off the field, to give the offense the ball back and to be able to get back over there and rest. I think when we get to the fourth quarter, some of those snap counts can be fairly high, which means you really would like to see Tennessee be able to play a little bit of keep away from Georgia's offense in terms of, keeping the defense off the field.
He is Austin Price. He joins us Tuesdays at 8:20 at Austin Priceless, where you follow him on Twitter. VolQuest, a must-have subscription for Tennessee fans around Tennessee and around the world. Austin, we appreciate you. Big one this weekend. We're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Austin Price joining us this morning.
I personally don't want to hear this weekend if the crowd does have an effect. Or the crowd, or home cooking, or you got a call you shouldn't have. I feel very confident going into this one. Very.
Let's talk more about it at 9 o'clock, because there's one thing that Austin Price said that I think changes this matchup based off of previous matchups. But we've not talked about the second biggest upset in college football from over the weekend. Mississippi State, I called my shot.
You did.
I'm going to go to bragging camp because we were right, dang it. That's next. Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown score to anytime TD props, or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. New customers, this one is for you. Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THEZONE. That's THEZONE. That's code THEZONE to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. 21 plus, Tennessee only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer. Tuesday morning continues on Ramon and Will. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, F&M Bank Chat, or you can hit the comment section. There was one big takeaway I had from our conversation with Austin Price from a question Ramon asked as we begin to preview Tennessee and Georgia. We'll also do that with Don Davenport coming up at 9:20 this morning, who I'm told has been touring the new Nissan Stadium with the media this morning as well. So looking forward to having Babs in studio coming up at 9:20. Ramon, Mississippi State beat Arizona State, and I'm going to get my trumpet out and toot my own horn. We were all over this. We were all over this on Friday. I felt like this is where there was the biggest upset potential. The perfect storm of night game, of program with upward trajectory, of head coach that I believe in, of cowbells. 24-20. Mississippi State gets the win over Arizona State. Good for Jeff Lebby. By the way, good for that offense and Jeff Lebby and Alex Golish for running a high school offense and winning big games. Joel Klatt. Sorry, I should use my cough drop button. I'm a better professional than that.
No,
Sorry.
you're not.
Joel Klatt and his lazy Big Ten bias can get the heck out of here with that.
Is what you say.
Healthy Blake Shapen, we said it all offseason, Ramon, means that Mississippi State has a chance to be a lot better this season. They did not run the ball as well as I thought they could have in this game, but defensively, they were terrific, and Sam Leavitt did not look good.
No, absolutely not, man. It was, they swarmed them, and they didn't let up, man. Of course, Mississippi State ball that they played this past Saturday night was the team that I was used to seeing in my era, where when you went down there, the cowbells are a part of it, but they didn't stop. They leaned into it, and then they swarmed you by even more so of what they are. Defensively, they were good against them, and then I thought, as you said just a second ago, offensively, they punched it whenever they had to in those moments, man. It was, again, you have Arizona's coach talking from time to time and bringing up stuff like
Dillingham, Arizona State.
Like, sometimes when you're going into the mouth of the monster, just be quiet and it might not close it on you.
Just be cool.
Just be cool. And he couldn't in those moments. And that is a team that, I mean, Lord bless them, losing a coach the way they did. Like, what Mississippi State last year was a reset of the tragedy that they've gone through. And you know they are prideful as heck. And one thing I've always known them for is their defense, man. That's no cakewalk moving forward. Shout out to them for correcting that as quick as they have so far.
I think Lebby's the real deal.
Yes,
I think Lebby's the real deal.
Early in this process.
I'm on the Lebby train. I am. And I'm on the Mississippi State train as long as Blake Shapen is healthy. Now, they've got a young quarterback that Lebby's brought in as a freshman that they feel like is a stud that is going to have his turn. And there's legitimate optimism around the next guy up in Starkville. But, man, when Blake Shapen is healthy, he's always been solid. Yeah. It's just the lack of staying healthy. I mean, it was 3 years ago at Baylor the last time he stayed healthy, and he was third of the Big 12 in passer rating. So the explosive plays, significant in this one. Plays of, I believe it was 48 and 58 yards. Mississippi State had 6 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions. Sam Leavitt was 10 of 22 for 82 yards and 2 picks. Now, Arizona State ran the ball really well, but for that offense and for that quarterback, who Ramon was seen as a legitimate first-round draft pick potential, this guy's got an NFL future. They almost beat Texas. They're returning everybody. To look like that, I get that it's Starkville at night, and that place is louder than it gets credit for, but I was disappointed in what I saw from Sam Leavitt on Saturday night. I expected more from him, even if I did pick Mississippi State to pull off the upset.
You best believe it. Can we also just have a draft of when we see a name, we give that name the respect that it deserves?
Go.
Fluff Bothwell.
South Alabama transfer.
Oh.
Didn't have a great game,
He
but
did not.
He's a name to remember. I've been on this train.
Did not, but when you have a quarterback in Blake Shapen, as you said, that goes out and deals the way he did and had to, honestly. 3 touchdowns on the night, man. Being able to do what they did. Again, situationally for Mississippi State, you don't have to have a monster rushing night. Situationally, you just have to be good when you need them to be.
Yeah.
And that's what Mississippi State was this past weekend.
And that's easier said than done for a Jeff Lebby tempo offense.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the same system as what Tennessee's running.
Hey, don't be bragging like that, man. People are going to call you a homer and stuff. I kid. But what I'm saying is when it works well.
I mean, it's a tip of the cap more to Baylor and Art Briles than it is Heupel. Heupel didn't create it.
It's
and Mike Leach.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, definitely Mike Leach.
Because, it's his offense, too. And it is kind of full circle that, God rest his soul, Mike Leach's offense can be run by a person who is long down the line of running his system now to get Mississippi State back up and running again.
You got to have two things, though, in it. You got to have a defense on the other side that can capitalize. That's number one on that list. And the other one is you need physicality.
Mm-hmm.
The perception of that to just go through the air like that, like college gives, I know people know this, but college gives such a huge advantage because of the hashes and how you can spread teams out and how you can take advantage of one part of the field.
Sure.
That's why this is run in college the way it is. And it's unique, especially if you got a defense that can support it.
Oh, but Joel Klatt said it's a high school offense, Ramon.
Joel Klatt has been wrong soon. I wonder how he's doing with the UCLA thing they got going on out there.
Yeah.
Did he write an article because of that too?
Oh, he doesn't write anything. He has a podcast.
What a waste of air for him to go on that tangent the way he did.
UNLV with a late pick of Nico Imaliava, our Nico Minute of the week. UNLV beats UCLA. And I don't know, maybe those takes about Nico wanting a better supporting cast. And, well, hey, he wanted to go somewhere where he can go to the NFL and have a better line and receivers. Interesting.
How about go ahead and collect the millions that you're supposed to and live like a king in college?
It all comes back to Mississippi State because Dan Mullen was the coach of that UNLV team that beat UCLA over the weekend.
So was.
Mm-hmm. And he lost Alex Orji for the season, the former Michigan quarterback who's QB1 there, out for the year.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Announced this morning.
That sucks. Well, at least he got the job done this past weekend.
Sure did. I saw David Ubben of The Athletic wrote a piece this morning that said Tennessee fans have two favorite teams, Tennessee 1 and number 2, whoever's playing UCLA.
That's what I was going to say. We got to stop making these other social media accounts rich because I know UCLA's Barstool is through the roof on interactions right now and engagement. And they thank the Vols fans, too. They did. It was a tweet that came out last week because I was hate tweeting or hate watching the tweet. And it was like, thank you for all the new engagement. And I guarantee they monetize the heck out of themselves right now. I know they have. I would. If you ever want to monetize your account, which I'm trying to, y'all make sure y'all hit at Ramon Foster.
At Will_bowling for me. No, honestly, that's what, it's the same thing with us.
Yeah, no,
if you hate our takes and hate us, but you listen, it's like the Jack Sparrow. But you have heard of us.
No doubt.
Yes.
But it's fascinating. I saw somebody's account that said, I'm a fan of the Vols and whoever's playing Alabama. I was like, yeah, they know ball over there, okay?
I'm not just going to toot my own horn this morning. I'm going to also toot Justin's horn.
What do you do?
Justin, can I toot your horn?
Every day of the week.
Justin Hawkins 3-0 in the Thursday 3 over the weekend. He's 5-1 weeks 1 and 2.
Locks.
Hawks locks are working. Game recognized game. We're all for tooting horns on this show, not just our own.
Back in the spring, I told Slay I'm coming for him.
You did.
I wouldn't plant that flag quite yet.
He's listening.
You got to do more. He's always listening. You always got to do more. You got to do more 3-0 weeks to then attack
the
king.
He hit 4 parlays this weekend.
As it says in The Wire, you come at the king, you best not miss.
Yeah. Omar. Hey, he hit 4
Slay
parlays.
coming.
Yeah, Slay coming. Well, Hawk, I'm here for it, man. And you know my role in this madness. I'm here to egg it on. Hell yeah.
Coming up, there is one key to Tennessee, Georgia, where I think Tennessee is better now than they have been since they last beat Georgia. We'll talk about that next.
It's Ramon and Will here for Window Nation. Man, we spoke earlier about how it's feeling cool outside. We let the windows down on our vehicles coming in just to feel a little bit. What I will tell you is you don't want that happening inside of your house at all, man. So if you got old drafty windows or cheap builder-grade windows, now is the best time to replace them. Protect your home ahead of the fall and winter weather and get replacement windows from Window Nation. You can get top-quality, energy-efficient windows from a trusted company, all at a reasonable price, Will.
And, Ramon, here's the thing. Whether the air outside is hot or it's cold, you want control of what your indoor temperature feels like Window Nation's going to give that to you. They're also going to give you this great deal. Save big this month. Buy 2 windows, and you'll get 2 for free. Yeah, make no payments for 2 years. You won't have to deal with monthly payments, a down payment, or interest until 2027. We trust Window Nation because of the A-plus rating for the Better Business Bureau. The 50-point inspection of every window before it leaves the factory. 866-90-NATION. Head online to windownation.com. Schedule a fast free estimate now with the pros at Window Nation. Online at windownation.com.
It's Ramon Foster for Brian's Motorsports, man, where they believe in this and truly dream, design, build. They're located at 789 West Main Street in Hendersonville, man, and you know the socials, too, if I'm talking about them right now. It's at Brian's Motorsports. But if you're ready to elevate your vehicle, Brian's Motorsports specializes in transforming rides with statement-making custom wheels, immersive audio experiences, and head-turning style through custom tints and wraps. This weekend, I was up on Vol campus, man, and I saw him in his vehicle, and I was just like, yep, that's Brian. And I knew it was him because the car, it was fresh, man. I'm just here to tell you this. If you're looking for that, it could be subtle enhancements or complete custom build. They've done that too. They deliver cutting-edge style and performance for all vehicles, including the most exclusive and exotic cars. If you've been to the shop, you know you've seen all kind of vehicles there. You've seen Ferraris, you've seen Corvettes, you've seen, hey, just a regular old Jeep or Bronco, all right? But they get the job done, and they get it done well, man. Lifter kits, lighting kits, winches, interior, and audio customization. They do it all. The website is Brian's Motorsports. The websites at the socials are that also, at Brian's Motorsports. Get over there so they can dream, design, and build for you.
It is 9:01. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Tennessee Titans head coach Brian Callahan spoke to the media yesterday and talked about his misinterpretation of the rule on wide receiver Alec Ayumanor's catch that was ruled incomplete on Sunday against the Denver Broncos, and he decided not to challenge that call.
I know you guys are all here for the conversation about the play with Alec and challenging the play and what I said after the game. And look, ultimately, my interpretation of the rule was wrong. I'll own it. We should have challenged the play, and that's pretty much all I can say about it is I'll own the mistake. We should have challenged it, and that's where it stands.
Coming up this morning around 11 a.m., defensive coordinator Denard Wilson, offensive coordinator Nick Holtz, and special teams coordinator John Bones Fossil will speak to the media. You can hear that presser right here on 104.5 The Zone, courtesy of the Buck Rising Show. And another dramatic finish in primetime as Week 1 in the NFL wrapped up last night with the Minnesota Vikings and quarterback J.J. McCarthy rallying from down 11 points to start the fourth quarter to beat the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football, 27-24. Rough start to McCarthy's NFL debut that featured an interception return for a touchdown for the Bears in the third quarter. That quickly turned around in the fourth quarter with 2 touchdown passes for McCarthy and also added a rushing touchdown to go along with it. It did that in 3 consecutive drives. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into hour number 4. You are listening to Ramon and Will. We're fueled by Scooter's Coffee. They caffeinate us so we can be opinionated. They're locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast televisions. Dawn Davenport joins us in 15 minutes. Of course, you hear her on 3HL with Brent Doherty and Ron Slay from 3 to 6. She has already seen the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yes, she has.
Had their season opener.
Mm-hmm.
She'll join us, previewing the matchup, talking a little bit about the border war, not the border showdown, the border war that was played over the weekend as well. Detective Dawn was out and about with her magnifying glass, detecting things. So we'll catch up with our good friend Dawn Davenport, who has also been touring new Nissan Stadium this morning. Just a wealth of knowledge.
I mean, I got to start calling her Big Babs, and not because of her size. You see what I'm saying? Like, she Big Babs to me. I had to clean. Hey, listen, that's my dog. I know how to clean that up. Big Babs is what she is, and not because of her size. Mr. Big, everybody, they know who I'm talking about when I say Mr. Big. But what I'm saying is this: I'm so excited for her to come in because I love our little back and forth. Look, she's been so busy as of late, going out of town, doing Big Bab stuff, okay? And I ain't had the time to like banter with her on Thursdays, and I missed that. So I might just start something with her because I'm starting something with Savage. Yeah, I'm starting something with Savage too because Hawks Locks went the hell off this past weekend, okay? Don't be coming for my guy like that, all right? You leave him alone. And me and Zeph got a good relationship now. I call on Thursdays and we just talk.
That's who I sit on the plane with to travel with the Titans.
Straight up?
Yeah.
Look at Big Zephyr on the plane.
Joseph and I were locked in on Tennessee ETSU updates because we were not able to watch it. We were scrolling. Our screen time is going to be way up this upcoming weekend. That's okay.
By the way, Hawk, I will say, don't let me take you to the deep end because I can't swim, okay? I'm just letting you know.
You're starting something between your brother and also televisions, Ron Slay, and Justin Hawkins.
That's okay. I can handle myself. I learned how to swim back when I was.
That's 5. What I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, Jay Hall.
Look, as I was saying in the chat, just because we only do a Thursday 3 and I give you 3 bets, that doesn't mean my personal bets are bad. I do know how to bet. I can make my own parlay, but I call them Hawks Locks. Doesn't matter. Just because he does it on, what does he do it on?
On 3HL.
He does it, but he does it after the show.
Yep.
Whatever it's called. We're not even going to.
Yeah, Hawk.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Just because he does that live and I don't, doesn't mean I can't do it.
Don't mean you ain't working. It don't mean you ain't working.
Ramon is the kind of kid at the back of the class who starts the conversation but never gets in trouble. He's a teacher. I was listening. Hey, 34. That's the answer.
Well, I'm getting our work done.
Ramon, can you come up with the whiteboard and show me how to do that? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And he'll do it right, and then I'll get in trouble in the back. Not me in this case, but somebody else will get in trouble in the back of the classroom.
Man, standing on his own, I can appreciate that because I'm backing him in this one right here, Hawk. Yes, you don't need me. I'm just here to be your mic for the moment that you need because, Hawk, you're a little bit more reserved than I am, and I get that. But I'm here to tell you, just because they don't see your work don't mean you ain't working. That's all he's saying to Savage.
You want to see a true competitor come out in me?
Man, talk.
You try to back me down.
Talk.
I will come right back up.
Talk to me nicely.
All right, so Tennessee is going to play Georgia on Saturday in Neyland Stadium. Ramon, you asked a great question to Austin Price. Is this Tennessee offensive line equipped to beat Georgia in a position where Tennessee against Kirby Smart defenses has consistently lost? This was our Vols insider and VolQuest's Austin Price, who joined us about a half hour ago.
I do think Tennessee's a more physical offensive line. I think they're a more talented offensive line than they were a year ago. I do think they miss Cooper Mays to a degree. I know that the snap deal at the end of the first half Saturday drove Heupel crazy. But at the same time, Pendleton has done a solid job and does have a certain heaviness to him for the offensive line at the center spot that I think gives him an advantage over William Satterwhite, who's a little lighter. But, yeah, I think there's an athleticism and there is a punch that the guards have had through the first couple of weeks where you're like, okay, I see you offensive line.
Ramon, that is, I think, the question of this game when Tennessee has the ball. Is this offensive line improved enough to, A, run it when it needs to, and B, protect its quarterback against a front and a defensive system that has consistently given them trouble?
Man, and that's the point. Like, they've consistently, the Vols got punched in the mouth when Georgia decided to, man, screw y'all, we're taking the gloves off. They've consistently, and I got to give credit for what history has shown me. I have to give credit to what history has shown me because in those moments, and I know Babs is going to come in, Kirby with his microphone or his loudspeaker, like railing those dudes and what they need to do and how big this matchup is. He's the perfect psycho for what Georgia defense is wanting to be. Kirby Smart is. But I do look at this squad and I say, it ain't much I can learn for what Georgia is in the first two games that they've had. It ain't much you can get from Austin Peay's level that they are, other than the fact that I would say this offensively. In the first few drives with Coach Jeff Ferris and the Austin Peay Govs, what I would say is this: they pushed on Georgia. They made Georgia get mad in the tape that I saw this past weekend. They ticked them off. And if in that ticking off, I will say this too: Austin Peay continued to push. Like, I hadn't seen the Marshall tape yet. I'm watching that tonight. But what I'm saying is this: I know Georgia has a lot of high pedigree, but what I've seen from the Vols in the first couple of weeks with the challenges, however we want to call it, that they've had too. The physicality that Wendell Moore is playing with, the Sam Pendleton, that Lance Hurd, even respectfully to the group was last year. I differ. I disagree with Austin. I think Sam is a better prospect in this current state of what this offense need than what Cooper Mays was last year.
Meaning new center Sam Pendleton, the Notre Dame transfer.
I love Cooper.
Yeah.
But I think what I've seen from Sam, other than the snap, I believe in the ability to fight back.
Sure. It's a big question. I think we get our answer about the offensive line. The one thing with Georgia that we've just been burned so many times.
Facts.
I don't care what Georgia has done before they take the field in this game. Kirby Smart has proven time and time again that regardless of how much they sleepwalk with vanilla game plans against bad opponents, not bad opponents, lesser teams, non-conference games that are bye games, they've consistently shown that when the time comes and the lights come on in prime time, they can flip the switch. I have no doubt about that. So, yes, like Aaron Murray was saying this week, former Georgia quarterback, we've had on the show before, does a great job, said Tennessee's in a better position than Georgia entering this game. Honestly, I don't care. Like, because yes, that is true, but I think it means nothing for this matchup because I think Kirby Smart has proven again, he will convince that team that they are being underrated and slept on and nobody believes in them. I don't know how he does it, but he will do it. So putting that to the side, what does Tennessee do against that? Is Tennessee good enough on the offensive line to impose its will against a Georgia defensive front that's got a lot of new faces from last year, but is still littered with blue chip talent. Mm-hmm. I don't have the answer to that, and that is why they play the football games. We're about to find out.
Dog, we don't have the answer to that.
The guy that I honestly have the most faith in, Ramon, honestly, is Lance Hurd. I think Lance Hurd is starting to look like the 5-star he was coming out of high school because he was healthy in the offseason. Because he's in shape right now. Because he's got a quarterback that's getting rid of the ball on time as well, which helps. I think that is the question when Tennessee has the ball. Now, we could talk about a whole other group of questions when Tennessee doesn't have the ball because you're putting young, inexperienced corners on islands against really good receivers. Boo Carter has started to become more of a feast or famine player. I think that we expected it to become last year, Ramon, where he'll make some plays. He'll show up in the backfield. He'll get a loss or a TFL. He's also given up some big stuff.
Yeah. He has.
I worry about this defense a little bit, but that's a conversation for tomorrow. I think this offensive line can do it. I really do. I'm not as concerned as I am up front as I typically am going into this matchup.
Is this as close as the spread has been? I know Vegas ain't everything.
Yes, it is.
This is as close as
it's down to 3.5, I believe.
Yeah.
It started at, I believe, 6.5 and quickly moved towards Tennessee. We'll see what that means.
Do we believe that transfer portal has changed the perspective of what Saturday's finals will be? I say yes to that.
Well, I mean, it's changed the sport. There's no doubt about it.
It's absolutely changed the sport.
For sure.
We live in the SEC world and almost any world. We saw Michigan lose to Oklahoma to where in 1 year it could flip in a matter of minutes. And I'll say this too. I feel like if you go back and look at that first series the Vols had against Syracuse because they thought that was going to be a stronger opponent, you saw a little bit what Austin said. There's more to this offense that has not been shown. Now, the execution of it, having the time to deliver those passes or those quick screens, I don't think we saw a single screen last week against ETSU.
Yeah, both teams are going to have wrinkles.
They're going to have wrinkles.
No doubt.
The X factor, I feel like, when you got a team on the ropes is going to be defensively, how long can they last if Kirby decide to choke it down? And I think when they played in Georgia, they had like a 70-yarder, 80-yarder, a 92-yard drive.
Also a lot of penalties that extended those drives.
Very true, too. But can the Vols choke them down to make them settle for field goals?
We'll talk about that. Kansas, Missouri, college football, SEC, a little bit of Titans. Who knows what we'll talk about when 3HL's Don Davenport joins us next.
Man, I just saw 2 houses to sell. We see that often here in the Nashville area, man. Same neighborhood, almost identical, but one had an Orchard sign, and it sold for way more. So I asked my friend at Orchard, why? The first house used a traditional agent. After weeks of price drops and frustrations, they just settled for less than they hoped, all right? The second homeowner, they chose Orchard and got more. The local Orchard agent didn't just list the home, they marketed the home, too. They knew exactly which upgrades would attract serious buyers and brought in pros to handle everything else. And even more, with Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program, the homeowners moved into their new home before their old home even hit the market. They skipped all the hassles and showings, too. So never settle for less. Get more with Orchard, the smarter, faster, hassle-free way to buy your new home, even before your old home sells. Start with the free home valuation, Orchard.com. That's Orchard.com. Again, Orchard.com, and make sure you tell them that Ramon sent you.
Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, fueled by Scooter's Coffee. This music can only mean one thing. That a little bit earlier than usual, Don Davenport in the building. Ramona Will is fueled by Scooter's Coffee. We got our caramelicious coffee going.
Smells good.
Thank you. Good. What's going on?
What up, witches?
3HL's Don Davenport.
Yeah, that's my dog. She came in here hot.
I'm on fire.
See, I missed you, man, on Thursdays.
I miss you guys. I like that I'm actually in studio
This is great.
here. I went and took the tour of
How was it?
The new stadium. Y'all, freaking sweet.
Nice.
Even the 400 level, I have video and all that. I'll put it out at Dawn Davenport TN here in a little bit on Instagram and Twitter. But even the 400 level seats, you are so much closer to the field and the action that because, you can sit here and listen to Burke Nihill talk about it, right? And be like, oh, yeah, it's whatever, the closest, to the field of play than any other NFL stadium. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But then you see it in person and you're standing there at that level and it's going to be
It's
awesome.
intimate.
Nice.
It's very, like, you're on it, right?
Even the highest seat in the stadium, you still are going to feel so much closer than you ever were at Nissan Stadium.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's very cool. It's gonna be awesome for concerts and basketball when we get the Final Four and all the things.
And it's always 67 degrees.
That too.
For those of us who don't like cold weather, that's a good thing.
Yeah, but do you know what I love about it? Like, I am not a big football game in an indoor stadium. That I don't know. Maybe I'm old school. Whatever.
I
don't love it. Like, now, granted, I have worked Syracuse games and it's freaking amazing atmosphere because it's so dang loud in there. Like, you can't hear anything, even if it's like not sold out. But they've done everything they possibly can to make it feel like an outdoor stadium with the terraces, with all of that, with how big the roof is, even though it's covered. So the sunlight will be able to come in, all that. So I love that part of it because I don't love like an indoor stadium.
I agree with you there.
I get that.
I most definitely, as a player, it did I don't think I played indoors. It's the SEC championship in 07 or like in the NFL.
There.
I know. We'll get there again. Just be patient. That's why we got Dawn here now.
That's the last time.
Hey, man.
07?
When was the last time your school did it? Huh?
I don't want to talk about
All right then. See, don't be kicking us. We already got a beef going between Hawk and Savage. Come on, Batley.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, it was more recent than 07.
Listen, I just said how much I missed you. Okay, and here you.
Sorry, I know. What am I doing? What am I doing?
You have covered a Georgia game already this year.
Yes.
You were also on the border war that I want to get into, which the referee crew, by the way, on that game just got taken off of games this weekend. Like, the Big 12 released a statement saying, like,
really?
We messed up. We'll get into that in a minute. But
I did not see that statement.
It just came out. How is this Georgia team different and unique? Gunnar Stockton is making his first road start, but he's almost as old as I am. Mike Bobo is still calling plays.
Because he doesn't feel it.
Right.
He does not feel it at all. Like, just the refinement, the it's all missing from him. Do you know what I mean? Because I compare him. I just have Bo Prabula at Missouri.
Very impressive so far.
So impressive, y'all. I think he's legit.
I think he's a Heisman dark
Nobody's
horse,
talking about him
over the next couple of years.
Coming into the season, everybody's DJ Lagway and Arch Manning and whatever. I'm like, Bo Prabula. Dude can throw downfield and nobody thought he could.
He was really close too, by the way, real quick, to if Drew Aller goes pro, he is the starting quarterback of the second-ranked Penn State team
for
right
Penn
now.
State. Yeah. And even though they did nothing with his arm while he was there, he has an arm.
Yeah.
Wow.
He has an arm. So,
but on
anyway,
Georgia,
and Gunnar just doesn't have that refinement. Like, I remember my post-game interview with him against Marshall, I felt like I was talking to a high school kid. And this is not a knock on him. He's just a very low-key country, and his teammates were like, don't let that fool you. Like, he can, because Drew Bobo's his roommate, who's the center, who's Mike Bobo's son, who has worked his way up to that position. And he was like, I've lived with him. We've been on scout team, for the past 4 years together. He was like, don't let that fool you. Like, he commands a huddle. He is super vocal within our offense. Like, he's just this kind of ho-hum. His post game was, I was like, how does it feel? Like, first start, whatever. at home, I know it's Marshall, but and it's awesome. It was awesome. You know what I mean? Like
he's enjoying it.
He's enjoying it, but I just like the X factor of like personality and just like commanding a room. He doesn't have, but yet the offense tells me he has it on the field, which is all that matters. But it's hard for me to look at that and say, okay, this is going to be the bad A SEC starting quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs with that kind of demeanor.
It feels like he's a little bit of a return to Stetson Bennett in terms of his play style and being a bit undersized. A bit. He's not as undersized as Stetson because no one is. Quick pre-snap motion, the moving the eyes of the linebackers. That was the thing Mike Bobo got Tennessee with last year was just they put those linebackers in conflict so much and made them play on an island over the middle. Tennessee feels like it has better linebacker play because those guys are a year older. Georgia has better receivers. They don't have to use the tight ends and the running backs in the pass game because Zachariah Branch and Noah Thomas are there. Do you believe that those receivers have earned the full trust of the coaches? Like, do they feel like they can go win a football game with Noah Thomas and Zachariah Branch on the outside being the focal point of the offense?
1,000 times 1,000%.
Yeah.
Zachariah Branch, y'all, is special.
Yeah, he is.
It's special. And I know, Gunnar Stockton's longest pass he's thrown was to Zachariah Branch in that Marshall game, but it wasn't even that long. What was it? Like a 13-yard pass, and then Branch took care of the rest. Yep. And you watch him and what he does. And it's funny because I went to practice on Thursday to watch Georgia, and I was shocked by how small he was. Just because he doesn't look like that small when you watch him on film. But, like, he's small. Yeah. I mean, and what he can do with the ball in his hands after catch is what's special. And that's exactly what Gunnar said, because I was like, what was the first time in practice you threw with Zachariah? Which, by the way, he wants to be called Zachariah, not Zach. Found that out.
Okay.
But the first pass he threw to him in the first practice, I was like, reaction, like, when did you know Branch was special? And he was like, first pass in practice. First time we were together, and he was like, the things he did after he caught the ball, he was like, I've never seen anything like it. Dope. So I think between him, Noah Thomas, when you're talking 50-50 balls, Kobe Young, I think that you're going to know his name by the end of the season nationally, right? Just because of what he can do, 6'4", 215. He'll go up and get it. And I think they'll utilize that more. But it's hard to tell because that Marshall game, I'm like, Are you going to run more than 6 or 7 offensive plays? You just going to putz around here? Right. No, they putzed around and they putzed around against Austin Peay. And I mean, Gunnar Stockton hasn't thrown deep yet. Now he can, because I watched in practice and they did a bunch of shot plays, like off of play action, Gunnar Stockton go deep. But then we never saw it in the last 2 weeks transform onto the field.
That's Kirby.
So that's hard for me to come in here and say what I think Georgia is or is going to be because of that, because they haven't shown what Gunnar Stockton can do with his arm. And watching him in practice, I'm confident that he can. But then what is that offensive line? Can they give him enough protection and time to be able to do that and maybe take advantage of a Tennessee secondary that you guys have question marks on, I'm sure, especially with injuries and what's going on. Because if he can, and they can show what I watched in practice on Thursday with Gunnar Stockton, like, then there could be trouble. Yeah. But if they can, and that offensive line can't protect and give Gunnar enough time to be able to hit those plays, they have the wide receivers to be able to do it. And you know who stood out to me? The true freshman, too. How do you say it? Talon Taylor.
Yep.
Yeah, number 11, like he's going to be a dude by the end of the season too. So with him, with Noah Thomas, with Branch, with what they've done, London Humphreys, local guy.
CPA,
Gunnar has a lot of trust in him and what he can do. Like they have the wide receivers to do it, but we haven't seen it. And then they utilize Dylan Bell in 8 million different ways.
He's been there for 10 years.
He has been there forever.
He's been so long.
Right? But for him, it's like, hey, we're going to hand the ball off to him and he's going to make a play. Oh, no, here's, screen pass. Here's this. Here. Oh, he could go deep, too. They're going to utilize him in so many different ways. I just don't know what Gunnar is yet.
Right.
When you say that, is it when you say you don't know what he is, but he's got all the weapons? how do you attack that if you don't know what he is? Like, how is he in moments? Because against Texas, he got his head rocked big time when he tried to run and be aggressive.
Yeah, and he kept getting up and doing it again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is he going to be that type, or does he want to display in his draftable year that he can command this offense better than anything that Carson Beck did last year?
Absolutely, he wants to.
He wants to.
He wants to. Him and Zachariah are tight. He wants to utilize his arm and those receivers, and Kirby wants that to happen. Gunner is completely confident that he's that guy, right? But I think a big question is, Tennessee, what can you do up front with a Georgia offensive line that I think at times was questionable, you know?
Well, the left tackle, I think, is out. And they're starting a true freshman.
Juan Gaston was out against Austin Peay as well.
Was out also, still with ankle.
He was hurt against Marshall. And he's a true freshman that stepped into that right guard role. And, dude, that kid is massive.
He doesn't play a lot of true freshmen on the line because usually they don't have to.
He's got two.
No, the last time he played a true freshman on the line was, who was there?
Cade Mays.
Nope.
Oh, really?
Nope, because he wasn't. Oh, sorry. The last time a true freshman started at the beginning of the season.
Oh, okay.
Was it Broderick?
Yes. No, it was, who was the draft pick?
Rogers.
Tate Ratledge?
Rogers.
Who?
Oh, was it Rogers? Who was it?
Jackson Power? Not JPJ.
No, I mean, it was a while ago.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
2000.
That's the thing he's doing, too. He's got a lot of true freshmen playing right now,
that's the portal in NIL, too, where Kirby Smart will tell you, I imagine, and he said this on the record as well, that, like, our twos aren't what they used to be. Nobody's are. That's why Alabama's vulnerable to lose to Florida State, among other reasons. Like, Georgia doesn't have the luxury of just having a 5-star blue chip always marinate in the wings. Sometimes they just got to go play.
Right, because of the portal. Yeah, well, 54% of his roster is first and second year players.
Wow.
It's Kirby Smart's youngest roster ever. And I think people forget that too, because you just think Georgia reload, and it's guys that have sat and waited and whatever. The transfer portal has completely changed that.
Right.
You know, but he's bringing in all these stars like Ethan Barbour, that tight end.
The tight end. Yep.
Dude.
Who's coming off an injury too?
He also is, yes, but he's going to be something to watch too. But it was also interesting listening to Kirby talk about this youth, because for so many years, and Ramon, you can probably speak to this too, but he's got guys that are very businesslike, right? That are, hey, I'm this is my last year. I'm going in the NFL. Like, this is, businesslike. Maybe the emotion of wanting to win, enjoying it is lesser because you're more of a pro career, whatever. So I asked Kirby about it when we chatted with him, and I was like, this is a young roster for you, what have you seen? And is it almost invigorating? And he kind of smirked, and he was like, I think you can use the word invigorating. He was like, from an energy, his whole fire, passion, energy thing this year. But he was like, the energy, the emotion, the want to really work hard and focus on things. He was like, you can use the word invigorating. I'm fine with that. And so I think it has been for him. Now I think it's also been frustrating at times.
Yeah, right.
But you have to keep that in mind. This is not the same old veteran Georgia team.
Right.
They are going to rely on young talent to help them get there.
It's interesting because I feel like Tennessee's in the exact same boat.
Yeah.
Like, Josh Heupel made the decision, I'm not going to go get, BYU transferred Keelan Marion when he was available and transferred to Miami. Like, could Tennessee have pushed harder for veterans who'd had experience because they only have 7 scholarship receivers? Yeah. But they also learned this past offseason, I think, what happens if you replace young guys stepping up into roles with old dudes who've just played.
Right.
Are those guys going to give you a higher floor? Probably. But will some of those young players then transfer because they're like, well, forget this. If I'm not going to play here, I'm out. Like, it feels very similar to the way Josh Heupel has said, no, I'm going to go with Braylon Staley in the slot. I'm going to go trust Ty Redmond at corner and Nathan Robinson at defensive tackle. Like, there's a reason we recruited these guys out of high school. At some point, you got to just throw them out there and say, here are the keys, go drive.
Oh. Y'all could not pay me enough to be a college coach right now.
My goodness.
I'm not going to lie.
It's insane.
Crazy.
It's insane. I imagine the wrinkles on the coaches that you're talking to and the gray hairs. Like, do they just... Is it a relief to them to just be able to sit down and talk ball with you guys? Because it feels like of all the, all right, maybe not all of them.
Let's not get carried away. They're very annoyed that they have to spend an hour with us the day before the game for the broadcast crew. Trust me.
Well, you know what? It's part of the job. It's written in the contract, Babs.
It's part of the job. And not to mention.
Does it matter for Nico?
You guys know, too, as a... Oh, bless his heart. Bless his heart.
His.
As a broadcast crew, too, like, all we want to do is give these players their due, make sure that we're knowledgeable about the team. And, you are our, these coaches are our inside look at what they tell us to where we can inform the public about your players and your team, So, anyway, but yeah, Kirby's interesting. So I hadn't worked a Georgia game since my very first year.
Okay.
With ESPN. So it was Mark Richt back then, right? And so I hadn't worked a Kirby game. I think I worked one when he was a coordinator, and that was it. So it was fun for me to be able to see him at practice and see him, in this role, whereas I hadn't been in Athens for 13 years,
Right.
So
nice.
Anytime you get a nickname, you got to be serious. Nate Frazier, they're calling him Nate the Great. You mentioned these wide receivers. I'm with you, Zachariah Branch, the entire crew that they have. But Babs, this is Georgia. We're talking about interior, defensive line, and linebackers and running backs.
Mm-hmm.
How is their perception?
They want that back, too.
Exactly.
They want that we're back defensive line and linebackers.
Where are they at? Because I hear a lot of the good. And then I'm hearing you say, well, the young and their questions and Kirby's got to coach and develop.
Mm-hmm.
Where is his team in that department? Because that's been where they've decided to buy big equipment and just body everybody in the SEC. Where are they at in that department?
Are you talking about defensively?
The running backs and the defense.
Okay.
It's those two.
So you're talking about physicality is what you're talking about.
That's what matters to me. And that's why I've seen him just say, you know what? We're done playing. Turn the lights off. Close the curtains.
Yep. So it's interesting that you brought that up because that was a focus because Kirby felt like they lost that physicality last year. They weren't what they always have been, what they're known for. They went live more this spring and this fall than Kirby has ever in his career.
Interesting.
Live practices, tackling, full-on pads, all of that because he felt like they had lost their physicality when it came to that.
Trying to not get bored.
Yep. Yes.
All right. Well put.
Well put. Run game, same thing. They took programs that ran the ball really well last year. They studied them. They implemented things to get that run game going. And at the end of the day, you got to have the guys up front to do it. And maybe that is still a question mark for Georgia up front, offensive line.
That's why I'm edgy. That's why I'm a little edgy on this one. Go ahead, though.
Yeah, but I love Nate, by the way. When I talked to him during the week, Nate Frazier, and I was like, Nate the Great, huh? He was like, yeah, it's kind of cheesy.
No, it's not. That's awesome.
He was like, I don't know. I just feel like cheesy when people say it.
That sounds like a Kirby Smart football player.
Yeah, I'm like, no, man, that's awesome. Come on, Nate the Great. Yeah, but yeah, so that was a big focus. The running back, I feel like they have somewhat of a deep room. They can do a lot with those backs. With Chancey Bowens, like that guy can do everything.
Yep.
And saw a lot of him, the true freshman, and Bo Walker.
And Dwight Phillips, I think, too, is another.
Yep. And he's been responsible for some of their longest runs, at least camp spring leading up to this season or whatever Dwight has. And Nate's just the guy and, super humble and works hard and talked about how we weren't physical enough. We have to bring that back to Georgia football. So it's been a focus. And I thought, now it's hard for me to say because you guys know how it is. When you don't see a team in person, it's hard to gauge physicality. But I watched a bunch of their games from last year because I knew I had the Georgia game week 1, like 4 weeks out.
Yeah.
So I went and watched all of their games from last year, watching them in person against Marshall. And I get it's Marshall, but I felt like they were more physical than they were last year. Defense, offense, just team as a whole, getting to the ball, just making punishing hits. That entire kind of physicality, I felt like seeing it in person, it was better than what I watched on film last year, but it's hard to gauge because I never saw them in person on the field last year. So, but it's a focus for them.
Okay.
It's a priority.
3HL and ESPN's Don Davenport with us. You have time for one more segment?
Sure.
What are you doing? All right. Let's talk a little bit of Titans with Don Davenport coming up next. Ramona Willow 104.5 The Zone is fueled by Scooters Coffee. Locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Dawn Davenport in segment with us, kind enough to wrap up the show with us. The Titans, Dawn.
The Titans
have a home game on Sunday after an L over the weekend. We had a conversation
that
earlier.
Not been an L.
That's
How
true.
crazy is that?
We talked about this team needing to find an offensive identity. And the age-old adage that you improve more from week 1 to week 2 than any other week because you figure out who you are once you see yourself in a live game setting. What can this offense build around? What are they?
Cam Ward.
There you go.
Like everything that happened in this game. Okay, so Coach Mack's always like, "Oh, don't be an instant evaluator."
IE.
No IE.
Yep.
So Mr. Babs, right after the game, was like, "All right, be an IE. What's your instant evaluation?" And do you know what my response was?
What's that?
Cam Ward's too good for this roster. That was my immediate response after the game. Fair, not fair, whatever. But that was my immediate response. I mean, I think you can build on, obviously, what the defense was able to do. Now, Bo Nix played awful.
He did.
Right? He was like Auburn Bo Nix.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
But, I mean, maybe your defense has a little bit to do with that. I know they have to get creative to actually... to actually get to the quarterback.
So
but
you've studied Cam along with a lot of others for a while. You were on him. You mentioned let Cam be Cam and do his thing. The question I have for you is, and wait, baby Babs, if you bought her a big wheel, are you allowing her to drive down the hill by herself, or are you or Travis walking with her?
No, that's a good point.
So do you want Cam to be in a position to where you say, go do your thing? Because I personally say I think it's Tony Pollard. As soon as Tony and the big boys up front get rolling, that's when you let Cam, how you trust him enough to go.
Oh, I trust him enough to go. Cam?
Yes.
1,000%.
He's going to mess up. It's just a matter of
absolutely, but
is that
I
for
trust him enough to open it up and let him go. But do you know what I don't trust?
What's that?
The guys up front.
That to me is probably the bigger indictment of this past weekend. Will asked me earlier, it's what how long does it take the offensive line? I said about a month still. But when you look at right to left, left to right with this group, they're the highest paid, they're the biggest group, they're the most experienced period on this team. There is a higher expectation that they're supposed to do this.
That's right.
I will not let them off the hook on that one.
Do we let them off the hook a little bit because of that Denver defense?
That's what the money's for.
And the snap count that can be timed up in that, the silent count in that building with that crowd. It is easier to get pressure because it is easier to know when the ball's being snapped.
There was no rhythm offensively.
No.
And that's the biggest issue.
They had it for what? A tiny portion early, and that was it.
Second series?
Yep.
Once Tony got stopped, when Denver decided to lock the doors, as Savage says.
And then the fumble.
And then everything else happened.
Yeah.
Right.
So I do charge them more than almost anybody else on this team.
Offensive line.
Yes, the offensive line.
And you're allowed to because you did that at a high level for a really long time at that level.
Nobody's young anymore. JC is, but nobody's young. After that rookie year, you ain't a rookie no more.
His hip thing is...
Yeah, it's going to be problematic.
I think it is. Callahan mentioned it yesterday as the only kind of injury thing that he noted. And he was, I can tell you from watching him, because they gave up 2 sacks, literally the first 2 snaps he was out, which isn't all on him. It was more about the situation. But again, it's the reality of it. He was trying so hard to stay in. He should have gone out sooner than he did. The last drive that he was in, he was looking up to the sky, hands on hips in the huddle, breathing hard and not cardio-wise. He was in a lot of pain. And he came off and he spiked his helmet. They muff the punt and he goes, give me that. He gets the helmet back, puts it back on and limps back onto the field. And they couldn't stop him quick enough. He ran the one play. They ran it 2 yards up the middle to Pollard. Then JC, come on. Yeah. Let's go.
Well, maybe that's why he was not great earlier in the game too. I mean
it's what's been bothering him.
Okay, how about this is my question because whenever I watch offensive line play, I always think of Savage every year because I'm like, can I call him right now and be like, hey, yo, so
why
Dan Moore.
Yeah.
I thought he was a disaster.
You thought it was a disaster? I thought he was fair. I thought after a while.
You gave him a C- yesterday?
I gave him a C-. Yeah. Some would probably gave him a D or F.
I would have given him a D-.
I expected him against what's the edge name? 15.
Nick Bonito.
I expected him against Nick Bonito
that
to lose one of them. I legitimately did. I was just like, yeah, it's going to be one of those games. The noise, the snap count, and the speed of Nick Bonito, plus the heavy bag that he had pushing him forward with the new contract that he got. It was a disaster for Dan. I have a higher expectation for him. He can't have that. I've been mentioning it the entire time, like, you got to erase the sins of last year for him, like the 12 sacks, absolutely. Yeah. But again, when you can't get anything going in a run game, I also will say this. I think the play calling and how they set stuff up. How you going to run play action when you can't even run the ball?
I'm worried.
JC was in the same situation. I mean, Cam rolled right in situations where you just like, it ain't play action time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, there's guilty culprits amongst many things in that game on top of personnel. Like,
yeah,
the biggest issue that Coach Brian Callahan has, and Babs, we have been, I'm not sure if you listened to us this morning. It has been therapy.
Oof.
His biggest issue that he has.
No, I'm going to need therapy.
He's got two dudes that out-coached him on his own squad.
Right. Yep.
Don Davenport, 3HL, ESPN. Where are you at this weekend?
Boy, Iowa State.
Ooh.
At Arkansas State.
Okay. Butch Jones.
ESPN 2.
Tell Butch we said hello.
Butch is very excited that we're coming.
Do you got to catch a prop jet there?
So there is a prop jet, but it looks like that it couldn't even get to like Murfreesboro, so I did not take it.
Oh, no.
I instead am going Nashville, Atlanta, Memphis, and driving for 90 minutes.
Get out!
Yep.
Don Davenport, 3 to 6. Thanks for coming by. Good to see you.
Love y'all.
Babs.
Appreciate it.
Love y'all.
Be ready for the show this evening. Get your therapy card together. But
Let's go.
your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.